Hey, it's Alex. We're going to do a review content of the month. This is going to be August 2019 review content. Yeah, so we're just going to run down basically what's been happening on my end spiritually. And I don't know if I'm going to be running down all of the stuff in regards to some of the documents I've been created and the advocations. All right, well, let's go over there and check it right now. Let's take a look. So I'm one of those I'm one of those people who do certain kind of educational certifications and disclaimers in regards to certain subjects. I've realized the power in regards to the written word and things of that nature, and the power that uh, um, you can harness for good. And other kinds, for example, the way you can word it, like, for example, Memory Cap's Spirit Guide's current information from light regarding what Memory Spirit Guides indicated in regards to those that Memory Spirit Guides indicated for what they chose for the information that Memory Spirit Guides needed takes priority how Memory Spirit Guides needed the way Memory Spirit Guides needed. Like that right there, saying that in the physical, putting a subject line in regards to right before that information, right before saying information, like, earth-based information. Then, in higher heavens and things of that nature, there is a bit of an anchor at times in regards to some of the spiritual information that's protecting for some of it, but also for not so. There's other stuff too. Doesn't necessarily have to do anything with protection and defense to a certain degree. There is certain stuff like that. For example, one of the things I would create is the AJHG Alex James Hislop and others to cap informational placement safeguards. Be one of the things that I would create to a certain extent, in a certain manner. Another one would be AJHG Alex James Hislop and others to camp power utilization. That's another one. So yeah, I mean that's some of the stuff that can help in regards to my informational creation that I do down here. Again, it's one of the things that I do to try and help, to try and lend towards safety and things of that nature. Again, if it's not a problem, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's one of those things that if it wasn't needed before, then it shouldn't be too much of a problematic putting it into place, specifically with all that spiritual information, in play anyhow to a certain extent for some of it. And that sort of thing that says that, oh well, but his creating of the information, that was the problematic of it, and I don't think that's going to hold at all. No salt to that ish. No, don't give me that crapola. And this is the thing of it. I call on legal spirit guides and regarding smart getting such ones guides pertaining to what we just need, the way we just need. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've been creating. And actually, I'm going to run down some of the disclaimers and anticipation and advocation here. Just let me go through. So, Alex James Hislop, Cap's main spirit guides. Cap's current information from the light regarding what Cap to give regards to those that Cap to give for what they chose for the August 2019 review. Content information that Cap to give takes priority. How Cap to give light the way Cap to give lights. Alex James Hislop, Cap's main spirit guides. And others following Cap testify in regards to what Cap to give in regards to the August 2019 review content. And others to follow Cap the way Cap indicated. And I'm Alex James Hislop, Cap's main spirit guides. I and others to follow Cap are asking for healing and protection, as well as what may Cap again in regards to the August 2019 review content, and others to follow Cap the way Cap again. So yeah. Let's go through it. So from August, let's see here. In August, what would I create? I created August. I almost want to go to sort folder. So some of the stuff I would create all the way from upwards here. So AJHG Netflix, information AJHG Microsoft, AJHG Jenny Malay, AJHG Jenna La Morai, AJHG Jenny Cronloy, AJHG Jan Fry. I think this was created beforehand. No, so it's great. Okay. AJHG Canada Border Services Agency, AJHG Competition Bureau Canada, AJHG Correction Services of Canada, AJHG Canadian Air Transport Security Authority, AJHG Health Canada, AJHG Canada National Battlefields Commission, AJHG Canada Post, AJHG Canadian Food Inspection Agency, AJHG Canadian Parliamentary Protective Service, AJHG Canadian Environmental and Wildlife and Environment Offices, AJHG Fisheries and Oceans Canada fishery offices, AJHD Health Canada compliance officers, AJHD Canada Post Security and Investigation Services, AJHD Law Enforcement Canada, AJHD Canadian Forces Military Police, AJHD Canadian Forces National Investigation Service, AJHD Canadian National Police Service, AJHD Canadian Pacific Police Service, AJHD Canada Ontario First Nations Police, AJHD Canada Hydro 1, AJHD Canada Enbridge, AJHD Wikimedia, AJHD Wikipedia, AJHD Emergency Response Canada, AJHD Alex James Hislop. Oh, there's pretty important. This one's already. So yeah, this one definitely is for certain. This one was created before exam. It was accessed already. See right there. Alrighty then. All right. And the other ones, there was another folder I just want to go to here just in case. There was other ones that I created. Some of these were thrown up online, some of these weren't, so maybe I'll go through it, the ones that were thrown up online and ones that weren't. AJHD Operation 10C, AJHD Operation 10C, AJHD Alex James Hislop and others to find camp apologetics, AJHD Reddit, AJHD Ramada, AJHD Axe Hiroka, AJHD Alex James Hislop, Fem 44's Shadow, AJHD Earth-Based Gangsters, AJHD Pinterest, AJHD Earth-Based Physical Speaking Systems, when Alex James Hislop is not speaking with physical voice, on physical Earth-Based. AJHD Earth-Based Handicapped, AJHD Earth-Based, AJHD Alex James Hislop and others to fabricate power utilization, AJHD Earth-Based Transportation, AJHD Earth-Based Form Utilization, AJHD Earth-Based Connection Trees and Mapping, AJHD Earth-Based Impact Facilitation Teams, AJHD Raynard Clans, AJHD Alex James Hislop Physical Families, Spiritual Families, AJHD Arcola, AJHD Stoughton, AJHD Spiritual Safeguards in regards to the topics and themes pertaining to the Alex James Hislop documents and others to Vadva Camp, AJHD Anti-Camp Paradise, AJHD Pro-Camp Paradise, AJHD Anti-Camp Content Experience Access, AJHD 42 Frank Beach Road Overlaps, and one of the other ones that I did do was AJHD 42 Franklin Beach Road Defense Systems. For some reason, something. There's a couple other documents I did create that I'm not listing. Some of it was thrown up online, so I can go to online, see here which ones I did throw up online, because it does matter to a certain degree. So that's some of the information I created. I don't know if I'm going to run down the advocations. I've been doing various advocations for the past month. I could do a quick rundown of it, just going through some of it, because I don't want to go through all of it. Again, those are some of the stuff, like, where it's the way it's written, the disclaimers, the testifications, the advocations in regards to it being online and physical Earth-based. The understanding and gravity of that, I think, really does need to be understood in a certain kind of manner. It does help, and it does change certain things in regards to spiritual, well, especially if it wasn't in play before. I mean, some of it is based upon if it wasn't, some of it in play before. But I think that there was writings done on Earth-based, historical writings in the past, as well as potentially stuff that is located online in the digital, that is in the similar ilk to a certain degree pertaining to the kind of disclaimer, advocation, and testification kind of work kind of stuff. Some of it might only be advocations, some of it might only be disclaimer kind of stuff. I'm not fully certain, but it is some of the stuff that I'm, the realm of what I am talking about to a certain degree. Again, having a physical Earth-based, digital document where the disclaimer is worded in a certain fashion, like my main spirit guide's current information in regards to this writing and information that main spirit guides indicate takes precedence the way main spirit guides indicated, and like that sort of wording really does matter, especially if you have a certain kind of subject line like Earth-based organization. All of a sudden there's that sort of thing that's that sort of writing is located online, physical Earth-based, digital, written in the physical wording, and there is informational placement behind the scenes that has been happening to a certain degree, disclaimer work, application work, testification work, and other kinds as well within certain wordings. Like you do one sentence and say, like, hello, what's going on, this is so and so, and this is a certain kind of writing, and then all of a sudden behind the scenes in regards to that writing there could be whole entire paragraphs and books and other spiritual and other dimensional, to a certain degree. So there's also that in front of the scenes, but there's also other kinds too, like an entire paragraph of ours looking like one wording on somebody else's screen to a certain extent. Again, that in front of the scenes kind of dimensional stuff too as well. You never know if an entire paragraph just looks like testifications the way spirit guides indicated. All of a sudden, that could be for some, it looked that way in a certain kind of context, another dimensional for some of it. Yeah, so I mean, it's that sort of thing, and there is myriads of spiritual information already in play. There's already that sort of stuff, heavens and things of that nature have already created certain kind of disclaimers and testifications and advocations. Some only advocations, some only testifications, some only disclaimers, and then some all three, and some pairs, that. And then there's other kinds too: accords, attestments, agreements. There's a bunch of different ones, and that's just some of it. So having some of that stuff in play it can be decent, but it's a support to a certain degree. It can be utilized as an anchor, but I don't know what kind of the kind of anchor that I want it to be is what spirit guides indicated in the original light, the way spirit guides indicated in the original light. So I and others from spirit guides are advocating for the punishment that spirit guides indicated in regards to September 4th, 2019, pertaining to what spirit guides needed to be what spirit guides reflected in regards to this mark application, etc. From spirit guides, the way spirit guides indicated. So Alex James has been others from spirit guides saying this, the way spirit guides indicated. So let's go to GitHub. Let's go to AGH. So let's take a look. Okay, so there has been some uploads, and some people do want me to be taking a break on some of it. But it is one of those things that I've been noticing. It can be fairly difficult sometimes to do that sort of thing where you're not uploading certain kind of documentation when certain things are thought of to a certain extent. One of the things I'm supposed to be working on today is tag work, and I'm going to try and work on it tomorrow. I'm trying at least get some of the names done to a certain degree. I apologize greatly. I'm adding for the information that spirit guides need in regards to this market application, etc. Once you guys to be displayed, where different kind of spiritual tags in regards to different writings, different kinds of things of that nature that can help us spiritual. Again, if there's thousands of spirits around us, hundreds of thousands of spirits around us, and they're viewing some of the information we create, and there's a ripple effect regarding that can be decent, then all of a sudden, some of those writings really do become important. You think about different kind of content experiences, gaming creators and film creators and music creators and different kind of writers and things of that nature, and all that sort of stuff to a certain degree, and the spiritual in regards to it is there to a certain extent. It becomes fairly interesting to a certain degree. So I'm just pulling up some of the documents that I uploaded to a certain extent. So just going through it here. So some of the documents I ended up uploading: AJC, Canada, Ontario Provincial Police. Again, this is being uploaded on the Alex James Hislop documents on the Peacekeeper Alex GitHub account. It is public. You can see it's on like an incognito window. There's a link there. You can just You can see the writings, the disclaimers, the applications, the testifications. So, in creating a certain kind of physical document, for example, and I'll read one of the disclaimers here. I'll read the entire disclaimer, I think, to a certain degree, and it'll give a little bit of context as to why it can be important and why it can be decent. The way Maine Spirit Guides operate is fairly decent. So, for example, when I create a certain kind of document like ADHD Canada, Ontario Provincial Police, my Maine Spirit Guides speak with, converse, communicate, and collaborate with the Maine Spirit Guides and Maine authorities pertaining to Canada and Ontario and others that Maine Spirit Guides indicated in regards to the crafting of, for example, ADHD Canada, Ontario Provincial Police information. There is a description in regards to some of the ones that I'm doing in regards to Canada. I'm starting to put descriptions in and wiki links. So I'll read the disclaimer here. I'm Alex James Hislop, Maine Camp's Maine Spirit Guides. Maine Camp's current information from the light takes priority in regards to what Maine Camp in regards to myself, what they chose for this portion of the disclaimers takes priority on Maine Camp in light. Maine Camp in light. Maine Camp's current information from the light regarding what Maine Camp in regards to those that Maine Camp for what they chose for the AJC, Canada, Ontario Provincial Police information that Maine Camp takes priority on Maine Camp in light. The way Maine Camp in light. Maine Camp's current information from light regarding what Maine Camp it takes priority on Maine Camp in light. The way Maine Camp in light. Maine Camp's current information in light for what they chose for the information that Maine Camp and others that Maine Camp takes priority on Maine Camp in light. The way Maine Camp in light. Maine Camp's current information from light regarding Alex James Hislop and others to Maine Camp documents and information that Maine Camp as well as others to Maine Camp takes priority. How Maine Camp in light. Any grammatical errors, etc. to Maine Camp can be clarified by Maine Camp's information and should not deter from the information within the AJHD Canada, Ontario Provincial Police information that Maine Camp as well as the information that Maine Camp the way Maine Camp light. The information and what Maine Camp indicated that are in play in regards to myself and others to Maine Camp are chosen by Maine Camp. The way Maine Camp light. Maine Camp's authority in forward light supersedes that of Maine Camp's authority in other parts of light. The way Maine Camp indicated in forward light. Maine Camp's authority in the light supersedes that of Maine Camp's authority outside of the light. The way Maine Camp indicated in forward light. Maine Camp's chain of command is fully defined by Maine Spirit Guides in the light. The way Maine Spirit Guides indicated in the light. What I and others to Maine Camp consider to be forward light is the forward light that Maine Spirit Guides indicated in the light. The way Maine Spirit Guides indicated in the light. For myself and others to Maine Camp, all that is dimensions and what Maine Camp indicated is fully defined by Maine Camp in the light. The way Maine Camp indicated in the light. Forward light and others to Maine Camp can be a part of the light. The way Maine Camp indicated in the light. Alex James says, but others to Maine Camp applications, disclaimers, certifications, as well as what Maine Camp indicated are fully defined by Maine Camp in the light. Especially that in which is immoral, the way Maine Camp indicated in the light. I and others to Maine Camp are asking for the punishment that happens because of this information, and others to Maine Camp to be what Maine Camp indicated, the way Maine Camp indicated. I and others to Maine Camp choose what Maine Camp in the light chose for us to choose in regards to this portion of the disclaimers, the way Maine Camp indicated in the light. I and others to Maine Camp give the permissions that Maine Camp indicated in the light. I and others to Maine Camp are advocating for what Maine Camp in the light chose for us to advocate in regards to the AJC, Canada, Ontario Provincial Police information that Maine Camp indicated, the way Maine Camp indicated. Maine Camp's current information in the light in regards to the Alex James Hislop safety and information documents that Maine Camp takes priority how Maine Camp in the light. The chains of commands in regards to document structure, etc. defined by Maine Camp that Maine Camp is fully defined by Maine Camp in the light. The way Maine Camp in the light. These disclaimers and others defined by Camp are fully defined by Maine Camp in the light and pertain to what Maine Camp indicated, etc. defined by Camp the way Maine Camp in the light. I and others defined by Camp are asking for clarifications to be defended the way Maine Camp indicated. I and others defined by Camp are asking for the disclaimer teams that Maine Camp indicated and application teams that Maine Camp indicated to be protected the way Maine Camp indicated. I and others defined by Camp are asking for what Maine Camp indicated in regards to ripple effect, impact, etc. defined by Camp pertaining to these disclaimers the way Maine Camp indicated. This is part of the AJC Canada information that Maine Spirit Guides indicated as well as the information that Maine Spirit Guides indicated the way Maine Spirit Guides indicated. Maine Camp's Maine Spirit Guides, I'm Alex James Hislop. So that disclaimer, wording it that way, having it in the physical digital online, can help and protect. And there is sometimes deterrence in regards to some of the stuff I'm doing. Some of the spotlight, some of the spiritual on me. I do not mean to upset or harm, especially in regards to the Ontario Provincial Police. If it is a problematic in a certain kind of way, my Maine Spirit Guides information and light takes precedence regarding the way Maine Spirit Guides indicate. They define whether it's in play or not in the ways that Maine Spirit Guides indicated in the light. And, you know, the original light can be a part of the light the way Maine Spirit Guides indicated in the original light. That's just what it is. So, that's some of it. And I'm not going to read all the disclaimers. I'm just going to go through the documents as to what I've, uploaded to a certain extent. Now, there's context, there's example, in regards to the disclaimer. It does help. This has been renamed, and that's the truth of it. ADHD Canada, York Regional Police. There was used to be an error in regards to one of the documents, but I had fixed it previously in the way somebody's got name. So ADHD Canada, York Regional Police was another one that I uploaded. ADHD Royal Canadian Mounted Police was another one. Some of it. Another one was the ADHD Canada Sûreté du Quebec, which is, I think it's a certain kind of Quebecois police force. Fairly certain. Another one is the ADHD Canada Enbridge. ADHD Canada Hydro One. Again, two companies that I rely upon in a certain kind of context. I thank them in the ways that makes guys needed. I'm asking for what makes guys needed regarding the ways guys needed. Do you? We do have gas here. I think it is Enbridge in a certain kind of manner. I'm asking for the gas companies that makes guys need to be defended. The ways guys needed. Because that's all. I'm asking for safety equipment in regards to dinosaurs and other swimming spirit guides pertaining to those that makes guys needed. The ways guys needed. They'll be like dinosaurs. What the? Certain kind of other dimensionals at times around us, spiritual, and the kind of stuff that they pull the antics can be a little bit outlandish. Like imagine creating like a Jurassic Park in like a abandoned theme park, other dimensionally, like an abandoned theme park in the physical, and then creating like a Jurassic Park in that area to a certain degree. That's the kind of stuff that certain spirits do at times in regards to some of the outland, and some of it's done in a safe way and in a contained way. It's not necessarily what some have labeled it out to be, but there is things in regards to some of it. Another one I did was ADHD Emergency Response Canada. That's one of those documents. ADHD Law Enforcement Canada was another one. And I'll start. This was committed 21 days ago again. Yeah. Well, another one's ADHD Wikimedia, ADHD Wikipedia. Those are two documents, two vital. Those are really, really cool organizations and companies in the ways that makes guys negative. I think that there is a company aspect pertaining to potentially, but I know organization is definitely what some of it's considered to be. ADHD Canada Post was another one. ADHD Health Canada. ADHD Canada was it was already, I think it was uploaded already in a certain capacity, but I'm not fully certain. I mean, it's been uploaded spiritually in a certain capacity anyhow, in a certain kind of manner, but it was uploaded, ADHD Canada information, and there was also the ADHD Earth-based banners information to a certain degree. ADHD Canada, so yeah, that was uploaded. That was one of them. ADHD Alex James Hislop, Fembo 44's Shadow. Again, Fembo 44 is a certain kind of moniker I've labeled myself in the ways that mean spirit guides indicating the original light. Someone's shadow, like I said, Alex James Hislop, Fembo 44's shadow is defined by spirit guides, so I mean spirit guides negating the original light. When referring to someone's shadow, it can be spiritual in nature, and which sometimes refers to their dark selves, and it can also be referring to another kind, in which is the darkness that one creates from their ripple effect in a certain context. The shadow I'm referring to is in regards to what spirit guides indicated in the lights. I'm asking for clarifications in regards to the spirit guides need regarding the smart application, etc. Another one that I ended up doing was the Ax Heroka information. Ax Heroka is defined by spirit guides needed in the original light. I put this document into play in regards to those utilizing my life in the capacities that mean spirit guides indicated, etc. Defined spirit guides indicated. I noticed there was multiple kinds of Alex James Hislops running around, etc. Defined spirit guides, which shouldn't be the case to a certain extent. And I am talking spiritually in a certain kind of manner. I know certain spirits using that name in a certain kind of manner. So yeah, it shouldn't be the case to a certain extent in the ways spirit guides needed, in which this document alleviates what spirit guides needed regarding. So yeah, ADHD Earth-based Gangsters was another one I created. ADHD Pinterest. ADHD Alex James Hislop, proximities, vicinities, etc. to cap. And some of this was already created, and some of it was just uploaded. So, again, some of it might have been created at an earlier date. One of the things I created, ADHD Earth-based handicap. Again, it's not just myself creating it; it's also others that spirit guides indicate. There's spiritual groups in regards to it, in regards to what spirit guides need, the way we just need, because that's also it. You know why? You know why? Your certain perspective. What's that? ADHD Earth-based. That's what you ended up doing. ADHD Family Saving was another one I uploaded. And again, this is a good example. This was already created January, March, April 27th, 2019. Another one I created, ADHD Family, that was created in 2018. So again, uploaded, on the GitHub infrastructure pertaining to the Alex James Hislop documents. There's specific infrastructure in regards to the Alex James Hislop documents. for the GitHub information that just needed AJHD, Alex James Hislop, and others to Hardware Camp informational placement safeguards. AJHD, Alex James Hislop, and others to Hardware Camp power utilization. So that's what you've been doing. AJHD Earth-based transportations. That's another one. Again, that was created earlier, and I uploaded it. I believe. Well, yeah, not too long ago. AJHD, Canada York Regional Police. Again, that was the fix in regards to it. Well, okay, you did. AJHD Earth-based connection trees and mappings. AJHD Earth-based form utilization. I'm adding for clarifications when just needed, running what just needed, when just needed. Okay, there was some feng shui. AJHD Earth-based impact facilitation teams. Whoa, okay, so AJHD, Alex James and others to Hardware Camp copy, cut, paste operations. AJHD, Alex James and others to Hardware Camp informational lost and found. That's a good one. AJHD spiritual safeguards in regards to the topics and themes pertaining to the Alex James Hislop documents and others to Hardware Camp. That one's a big one. I created that and a bunch of things changed. I felt the interaction change around me when some of these documents were uploaded, but that was a huge one. That was good. AJHD Anti-Camp Content Experience Access, AJHD Anti-Camp Paradise, AJHD Pro Camp Paradise. Throw them a bone. Throw them a bone. That's pretty much. That's the thing. Give us some more bones than that, Alex. Is that it? No, I don't know. That's why they get mad. Then why base it off of me then? You know? Well, all right. AJHD 42 Franklin Beach Road Defense Systems. AJHD 42 Franklin Beach Road Overlaps was another one. AJHD Arcola. AJHD Stoughton. In certain towns, just doing a little specific documents. We already have the AJHD Canada information anyhow, and the AJHD Earth-based banners information too. AJHD Alex James Hislop, physical families, spiritual families. That was a good one for my family and families. AJHD Operation 10C. So the idea is that in regards to past, present, future, etc., at Hardware Camp, especially interaction pertaining to the time frames that Spirit Guides negated, is that upon those that Spirit Guides negated being able to see past, present, future, etc. to Hardware Camp interaction that they are seeing, what Spirit Guides indicated, we focus on what Spirit Guides indicated in regards to our sight and sense that Spirit Guides indicated interaction, regards content experiences we have seen to be affected by our action, by certain actions, myself included, that sort of thing where something takes place and made it through to certain interaction, which is sometimes reflecting in film, music, and other kind as well, in which you could do something in the present where it potentially affects and seemingly affects something in a content experience that was created in the past. And someone say, how would that work? Well, the way time can work in the spirit, is one of those things where they might be experiencing spiral time, or we're experiencing linear time in a certain kind of fashion, where a certain spiral intersects with that linear time frame, where that they're experiencing it in a different way, and there can be potentially that sort of thing that potentially happens, where certain kind of content experience creation is affected by way of some of our actions, but some of it is smoke and mirrors. By the way, some can feng shui. Someone take a look at for example, there is such a thing as soothsaying and future telling. That's one of the ways they can sort of garner a certain kind of fortune telling, and there is advanced fortune telling in regards to the spirit. Not to say that there isn't such a thing on the in the physical to a certain extent, because there is, but there is that sort of thing where they can make it look a certain way. Where if someone, when that content experience is created, says, okay, so we're in the future, we do a certain kind of facilitation, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, whatever it happens to be, a certain time frame, and they know the game plan regarding it, so they can facilitate it on their end when the content experience is being created. And 5-10 years later, when they go around, when they all of a sudden facilitate what they intended to do, it can look like that upon content experience creation, meaning that it is potentially, for some of it, happening when that content experience is being created, and upon you doing a certain action, like thinking about cheese, and then all of a sudden there's a certain kind of facial expression, or a certain kind of voice inflection, or a certain kind of interaction on that content experience within the spirits, like you affected that sort of thing. A certain kind of interaction taking place on that content experience, and the amount of things that I've seen in regards to it is synchronicity, signs of life sort of stuff, where they could have facilitated that in the past when that content experience got created by way of having a certain game plan coming around you, facilitating a certain kind of interaction and conversation to facilitate that sort of thing to look a certain way. But I think it's a mixed bag. I think some of it really does impact it to a certain degree. Some of it, I think some of it is, and I'm not saying that some of it's facilitated on their end, because I think there's a decent amount, but with that sort of thing happening, some consent teams working in regards to certain interaction upon this, and sometimes reflecting both what Familiar Spirit Guides indicated to reflect, and not so upon interaction in regards to myself and others. Familiar Spirit Guides indicated, which we can focus on what Familiar Spirit Guides indicated. That's the way we played smart and compassionate, the way Familiar Spirit Guides indicated in the original Light Alex James Hislop before, and others Familiar Spirit Guides, the way Familiar Spirit Guides indicated. So the idea is to focus on what Familiar Spirit Guides, the communication, on what they're communicating. So in that interaction happening, because there is interaction in regards to past, present, and future in a certain context. That's a part of it. That's the part of it that's like, oh, well, that's why. And with that interaction happening, with that communication getting through and seeing, and it's like, okay, so this is what we do. That's the game plan. And what they go with really does matter, and I think they know it in a certain context, and I think that it does help. I think it can help in a certain kind of manner. So yeah, ADHD Operation 10C, that was one of them. I created 2 documents, and it's in a certain kind of context. That one of them's in a certain context, a little bit different. Well, no, it different in the ways that Familiar Spirit Guides indicated. Even though there is a similar description in it to a certain extent, it is focusing on what Familiar Spirit Guides indicated in the original light, the way Familiar Spirit Guides indicated in the original light. So yeah. ADHD acceleration and deacceleration was another one I uploaded. That one's, we've already had that. It's been created for a bit now. Yeah, May 9th, ADHD Alex James Hislop and others, divided camp apologetics, ADHD peace dancing. There's another one I just threw up. That's been in play for a while now, since 2018. ADHD memory, that's a big one. That was also created, December 23rd, 2018. Yeah. So some of these I just trying to upload. ADHD Coast to Coast AM. I listen to that daily. It's just one of those things. ADHD Stadia Next S. This document, some spirits have taken it upon themselves to say that it pertains to what they needed it to pertain, and chose to pertain in a certain context, in a certain framework. I adhere to what Familiar Spirit Guides indicated regarding, in the ways that Familiar Spirit Guides indicated in the original light, but some are doing their own thing on it. So, hey, Godspeed in regards to those that Familiar Spirit Guides indicated regarding the smart gratification, etc. So let's go to the ADHD daily defensives. Now I do advocations and things of that nature to try and help, try and protect, things like that. Because that's also it. That's what we said. That's the why. So some of the documents I've been uploading on the AGH Daily Defensives board. Okay, so I have a Peacekeeper Alex Trello account. Trello account has like certain kinds of lists and cards, and what I've been creating is AGH Daily Defensives, and then having months. So like January 2019, February 2019, March 2019, so on and so forth. Within each month, there's the dates of the month within there. So for example, AGH Daily Defensives, January 2nd, 2019. AGH Daily Defensives, January 3rd, 2019. There's AGH Daily Defensives, January 1st, 2019. It's like all the way down. You can do different things in regards to, you can upload documents in regards to the attachment section. For example, I've been uploading 3 key documents in regards to some of the dates. ADHD Alex James Hislop and others, camp informational placement safeguards. ADHD Alex PC defense. ADHD Alex James Hislop and others, camp copy cut paste operations. Oh, well, that would be correct. This is the case list. Well, actually, there's multiple. See, that was always the thing of it, is that some of it I do go effort prowess in the ways Spirit Guides indicate, and that's the true. I and others from Guides testify in regards to what Women's Guides needed, the Women's Guides needed. Alrighty then. Well, okay. Because hell no. Well, no way. That's the way he feels. So yeah, again, having the copy cut paste operations, considering that the templates that I work on in regards to advocations, disclaimers, and testifications is decent, having that up and that sort of thing, it helps to a certain extent. Yeah, there's things like that. Alex PC Defense is another one I use. I use my computer in regards to creating of those templates and things of that nature. It helps. And having the Alex James Hislop and others provide camp information placement safeguards in regards to that information, helps daily too. Helps greatly. So August, what have we been doing? Uh oh. There. Okay. So advocations, disclaimers, certifications, and defense. Campaign in regards to communication in regards to August 2019 is a big one. Again, advocating for healing and protection, that sort of thing. There's multiple other ones too. Topics and themes in regards to the Alex James Hislop diary entry, educational section, etc. to Vodring Camp. Advocating for advocational creation regarding, again, topics and themes in regards to the Alex James Hislop diary entry, educational section, etc. to Vodring Camp. It's a big one. I do diary entries daily, so I let know of certain kind of things to a certain extent. I'm just going to scroll it. Operation 10C. I had more Operation 10C content disclaimers. It was a special kind of placement of information. It wasn't just the normal sort of can of beans for what's acceptable. Some of it was normal in a certain kind of sense. Yep, Operation 10C sort of advocations and testifications, disclaimers, that sort of thing. I put it in multiple different kind of places on the Peacekeeper Alex Trello account online. I did advocate for, so again, healing, protection, etc. In regards to the weaponry that means for guys. If we have defense teams protecting us in a certain kind of context, I don't feel that is a bad thing to do. Maintenance in regards to where I go with what means for guides indicated in the way it means for guides indicated lane. There is a certain kind of bad maintenance that I do in regards to it, and there's some that I don't. In regards to certain kind of advocational placements and informational placements in the physical and things of that nature. What else? Quality traits, mechanism holdings. That was some of the advocationals regarding. Anyway, we're just going to scroll because I'm just. All right, then fine. I don't know why. I think I'm going to go quick here on some of the stuff that happened. So, that's how I feel about it. August was an interesting month. A lot of things happening to a certain extent. A lot of different things taking place. Let's go through it. So, So this was one of those days where had felt a certain kind of change in interaction. I felt like a certain kind of attempt to go a certain kind of direction. I think there was something being spoken of within day one and day two of August 1st and 2nd. Something that said, like, good deployment happens and it looks amazing. And then all of a sudden, bad deployment happens and it just looks like something totally different. And not amazing anymore to a certain extent. So I don't know. There was a really stark thing in regards to that. And people were getting a good tell on it, a good understanding as to what that was, because there was a certain kind of time lapse, and it just looked a certain way. And I appreciate the good in regards to it, because they do try and they try to help and they do decent regarding it. But then there's just that leeway given to certain kind of bad spirit deployment to harass and kind of ruin that direction in a certain kind of sense, which just, you know, I don't really see why there's leeway given in regards to that to a certain extent anyway. But yeah, one of those things where it's like, listen, we're going to try something different. We want to go a different way. We want this interaction to reflect something different. And, some people say, a bunch of things in regards to it. Some of the showpieces and things of that nature is kind of taken out of context at times, where it's said like, oh, well, that's the interaction that's taking place though. And it's like, no, it's not. Not on my end. All right. And it isn't, to a certain degree, because not 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, a certain kind of plan was revealed in a certain kind of sense. And then all of a sudden, just the wheels and cogs were, some were in spin and some were kind of stuck stuttering. One of the things that happened was a certain kind of facilitation and manipulation in regards to certain interaction, behavior, personality, in the influences kind of get a certain kind of prompting happening when there was a certain kind of battle and conflict taking place in regards to banners and dimensions. One of the things that was interesting a couple days before was there was someone who got kind of, a bit flat-footed happening, where everybody looked at him to a certain extent in a certain spot where it kind of looked like I don't know, not everyone looked at him, but it was just one of those moments where it was like, wait, this isn't it. This isn't the direction in regards to a certain attack that was happening to me and others forming spirit guides in a certain, not to me and others forming spirit guides in a certain sense. In which it kind of looked like after that, then he had a certain kind of thing to do, or someone had a certain thing to do to make it look like it was someone else, and to make it look like it was someone else. And it snowballed this kind of conflict over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And I do feel it would lend towards day 2, in which looked like a just starred mother effing day. I mean, pretty much that's what I labeled the day, for a reason, because it was one of those where it was one thing after another. It wouldn't stop. And on this day, the new day, August 1st, 2019, I'd see a certain kind of interaction take place where they really attacked me and my mentality. They attacked other dimensional selves. There was certain kind of spiritual harm and attack happening. I had a certain kind of breakdown, and there was a hard emphasis in regards to it being because of argumentatives and interaction. See, this is the interesting thing. If it's about the interaction needs to change. But even so, with me saying that, I still hold it down and say the interaction doesn't deserve that sort of work. The heavy prompting, the argumentatives, the conversations, the talking, speaking loud, speaking, communicating, uh, as well as other kinds of that sort of thing, just not warranting what was happening. It was just, that's basically what it looks like. August 1st, 2019 basically had me, it was a life path for me on my end. What they were trying to affect was my life path in regards to going that direction. I understand having that shit to say, hey, look, this over here. But again, it really, does it? Well, we'll see. But, all right. Well, that would be correct. He left it there. There was a certain kind of battle in regards to, I felt in regards to certain aspects of Earth, but again, we've had that thing happen where it's on my end, and I'm wondering what that looks like in regards to facilitation of other lines. And again, if they do that separate version in regards to some of us down here, what's it look like when that finally gets together and that gets pieced together? And is it supposed to be this battle for Earth? So then, and at what point are we dragging certain kind of conflict on? For how long are we going to drag this on to a certain degree? I mean, this is the case of this. All right, well, that would be correct. Well, that would be correct. You choose that. That's the thing of this, because it's a heavy emphasis, is what it says. There's a thing like that. Well, I'd be careful about going that route, Bob. All right, well, that would be correct. That would be. You don't know why, because that also is. It's that kind of stuff that says, just because I respond with bub and saying like, I'd be careful going out that route, bub, that sort of thing, is not warranted. People getting attacked and harmed specifically. I want my communications aimed where Marine Spirit Guides indicated, and that sort of thing. And even so, I do want the interaction to change because I don't want to be doing that anymore. We tried going that route yesterday, and here we are again with someone else having to utilize that sort of thing, doing a much better job of it. I'm glad, no complaints, right? I don't mind complaining. That's another one. Complaining. Yeah, nothing wrong with complaining, right? I mean, there's gotta be, because that's also, no, that's it, really. I mean, because it's just been one of those things where it's like somebody deserves to get beaten up, attacked, raped because of complaining. No, that can't be it. All right, well, no, it can't. And so, yeah, I felt getting attacked, an influencing and manipulation in regards to a certain kind of spat with locals, to a certain degree, in a certain manner. That was one of them. Okay, I do remember that. And there was a bit of an emphasis in getting me erratic. And there was other dimensional selves that were being harassed, harangued, all personal. The anti-camps had been slammed to a certain degree. The pro-camps were around to a certain extent. The defenses were there, but there was just a fracturing in regards to certain things. And I'm wondering what it's going to reflect in those moments future on. Specifically, are they going to use those overlaps, my interaction that actually reflected? So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so even if we do go those routes where it's, dragging a conflict on, that sort of thing that says like, imagine a war taking place, but it's like, for 2 days this war's going to take place, and then all of a sudden we're just going to take a break, we're going to do some other things, we're going to live our lives, live life, go in, some people go incarnate, live their life, come back, and then they, then all of a sudden, like a year later, we're going to do this, we're going to carry on this war again for another 2 days, and it's like, okay, well, and it's that sort of thing for some. It's like, are we going to catch somebody flat-footed? Is that what's going to happen here? That's some of the stuff that happens to a certain degree. And it's just, it's this cockamamie stuff. From my point of view down here, I don't have the wherewithal to be able to look at it from a certain point of view to say, hey, this is the decent of, well, no, I can say that there's a decent of it, but I just look at it from a certain viewpoint where it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, all right, like, let's get, like, there's some, though, that have been dragging on for how long now? Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? Forget it's a long list. There's some old souls that are like, oh, because it is. It's true. Well, that's also why, though, I'm going where Main Spirit Guides indicated, the way Main Spirit Guides indicated. All right, you find that. Such a thing as that on content experiences. And in regards to some of the things in regards to it, even when we move past that sort of thing, it's like, okay, there's great things in regards to it. It saves, it protects, it does decent. It's that sort of thing that says, listen, I'm going to run out of resources by day 3. But it's like, but we stop at day 2, and you do have a preparation period for some of it. And it's like, so that's sort of thing where you can be able to regroup and that sort of thing. Conflict in the spirit can work that way in a certain sense, but it doesn't always work that way. Because there's been an emphasis on this in this process at times in that sort of ways of operating, and it hasn't always operated that way. There is dimensional existences where some of the wars already took place, where some of the things had already happened, where some are still waiting for a reflection of the winning of battles and losing of battles. So one of those things where it's like, but still, even working past that, what are those interactions going to reflect? Are they going to reflect what truly went happened? And we're going to be, for those who were incarnate in front of the scenes, who did some stuff in regards to it, be shoehorned out of a certain dimensional existence area to not be able to participate in some of those conflicts to try and help? Is it going to be lied about and said that that's not what it is and labeled something else? That's some of the stuff that there is a bit of a problematic in regards to some of us. And the wasabi in the ears ain't going to stop what's the train coming, because that's really it. These are some of the questions that need to be answered, specifically in regards to my case. Especially because they're still, that's one of them, that is, but it's also for others too. We're wondering, is it like these two getting together? Is that the problematic? It's like, we don't want some of these guys getting together, because that's the case. We're not going to let them through these areas, because it's just going to what it's going to be. If we're going to be a slam, well, all right, that's going to be a slamming home. Is that it? Well, maybe we're going to crack jokes with the kind of insufferable in regards to comedy and the friggin' rights issues regarding it. God damn, if we crack a joke once in a while, eh? Friggin' hell. Well, okay. That's what you said. Oh, holy. And that would be correct. These guys are fighting. No, you're they say you're done, but that's not it. So we screwed up in this process. That's what it says. It says we screwed up in this process. So again, is this present, future, or past in regards to this? That's before a certain process that they're going to handle, and not so, because that can't be it for some of those processes, right? Oh, that's what you did. Well, that's the kind of stuff that Alex is talking about, though. That sort of stuff where there's an interaction that somebody doesn't like, and then they end up kaput. Well, kaput, putts. All right, well, that's that over there. All right, fine. But yeah, it's that. Yeah, that's what you'd say. You'd say this is the case of this. Somebody getting screwed off to the side, getting a raw deal when everybody else like, yeah, is that what it is? There's not some psychologicals being influenced on it, is there? Oh, there's a bit of a difference, ain't it? Well, all right, you know what? You are correct. Grasping at straws to survive half the time. Why the hell? All right, yeah, you know what? Because that's why, Alex. Still, why the hell? But that's why, though. This is the case of this. I do care. I don't know what the conflict is about. Guys, I can see it. I look at it from banners from a certain perspective, spiritual banners, and I look at it for physical banners too. And it's like this sort of thing where I've looked at it at times, and it's like the land, fighting for money, fighting for power, and all that sort of thing. But the real true of it is that if you take a look at certain history, and history sometimes plays a big part in it, and it says that if they owned the land first, or if they needed the power, if it was survival, if it was food, or whatever it was, resources, that all of a sudden the context of it can change, and you start to take a look at it and say, I remember this place, it was of this, and it's supposed to be that. But it's not only just like, some people are like, oh, we got to take away from the lens of looking at it, of being of that to a certain degree, but some people fight for that. It's the compassion in regards to it that's brilliant, to a certain degree. But you know, at what point, well, at what point though? Again, I looked at it from a certain perspective, and one of the perspectives is that if I was to pass on and leave this planet Earth and couldn't traverse here, imagine one of my, banners was attacked or something like that. I'd want to protect them in a certain manner. Again, but even looking at it from the perspective of aggression, like, because we were looking from a defensive point of view there, right? What if it was one of your banners trying to take over something that was theirs previous? Now that's one of those things that is a difficulty. It's one of those things that says, hey, that land was this here. But at what point does so much time pass that you not take a look at that and say that again? Imagine if the Native Americans rose up from the grave and said, "This is our land," and the regular white Canadians are just like, "What? And we're doing? It's been freaking how long?" That would be why. That's the thing of it. It's a perfect context. And that's the difficulty of it. I have difficulty in regards to it. It depends on the context. It depends on the dimensional existence. It depends on the circumstances. And I take the calls that spirit guides indicated in the light. I mean, that's that they chose for me in the ways that spirit guides indicate, like, because that's the way we feel here. You know why? Because you're about to, like, this is the case list. That's what you'd say. Keep moving, Hoss. Is that it? Well, I don't know. No. So anyway, I mean, that's some of the perspective in regards to it that can be difficult, because I'm looking at it from a certain point of view that says just save. That's it. No. Just save. That's it. Well, and that's the real true. They did that to you, but that's always what it is. And that's the case of it. It is. It's a certain kind of covering at times, and they're trying to get me to harass and harangue that line, but it's something I talk about. It's something that is talked about, and it's something that's normal. Normal is talked about. We talk about physical earth, but myself and others from guys talk about physical earth-based banners. But you're not talking about physical earth-based banners anymore. No, I'm not. I'm talking about some of the disparities that are happening behind the scenes, getting attacked, harmed, hurt, suffering, some of which is touched upon me. And again, creating that information, if it's not a problem because there's nothing wrong happening, then shouldn't be a problem. All right, you don't know why. Because it makes it look it that way. That's all. This is the case. They had something ready to go here, but you don't have to fall for this trap. Well, that wasn't falling for the trap, but that's a part of it. Conversing, talking about some of the things that are taking place spiritually. It's a suppression of rights that I'm viewing, that I'm seeing. the sort of thing that says don't talk about, that sort of thing that says, oh, heaven save us, because why? What is the problematic if there's a problem? All right, well, you don't know why. And it's fairly normal in certain regards. The regards that means you guys need. Why? Because you went off track. I didn't go off track here to a certain degree. Well, see, your main spirit guides would say that you go this way. But you lose that sort of thing, though, to a certain degree. To a certain extent. Well, all right, then fine. And there is times like that where I can see, like, why should I stop talking about something that's a discussion? Aim my voice somewhere else. Like, this is a part of it. There's so many nooks and crannies that are like, stop talking in this moment. Don't do this debate here. Don't speak about this conversation here. Don't walk on the street over there. Don't take a crap over there. Don't do this. Don't do that. How many things are we going to do until it don't look like our lives anymore that we don't do, we got to just, might as well go. Yeah, I like going that way. I mean, we're so damn tired for some of us. We'd rather just go the amorality way at times than the way it's just do. Get it all, friggin' heck. We stumble upon what we stumble upon in regards to some of it. Get it? They might be better. It fits the bill in regards to some of it, except if some of them look at some of it, it doesn't. All right, then fine. And then some of them know it. Why? Because it touched some of them too. It used to be this. Well, all right, yeah. Okay, that is correct. That would be the thing of it. We're switching for a reason. That's what it says. That's what they said. No. That's you got it incorrect, good sir. A light display the disclaimers that means spirit guides negate in regards to those that means you guys negate the way in which you guys negate. So you never believed that. You didn't believe it for a reason. He didn't believe it, but you did. And that's just what it is then. We're switching up for a reason, because that's what they said. They said that's what it's going to be. And yeah, well, just how much attachments in regards to some of these videos. I mean, that's one of the big one, right? And that's what Alex said. Alex says that too. This is the case of this. Look, we try to help. It's been that sort of thing where it's like, okay, we'll attach to another action. Don't have to do it now. We'll worry about it when it gets uploaded and created. But then when it gets there, everybody's all pissed off and angry and a huge battle takes place. So what the shit? Well, I mean, this is the thing of this. Well, I mean, that is correct. It's interesting. It is, because you do have yours. You have yours. You don't want to do work. That's all. You've been saying that I don't want to do work. I'm wondering who's been creating that mentality. The amount of resources going into it compared to the amount of resources I've put into not doing certain things because of my laziness, tiredness, whatever it is. I'd be interesting to see that percentage that main spirit guides indicated. Well, that'd be all right, fine. Yeah, okay, theirs is way, way more. Oh my God. And I've been doing stuff. For frank's sake. Well, that'd be great. So have we. Well, okay. Well, okay. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if there is that sort of thing, well, that was the thing of it, though. You don't know why. Because there's certain people who are forming up. That's what it says. Because you slammed them. That's what it said. Because you've been going hard on that. Couple looks on my end. That's the real true. Certain spirit and higher light where I've been saying, listen, like, I'm going towards you. And I'm not trying to attack you, but, when I get up there and if it looks that way, what am I supposed to do? You don't know why, because that's why. That would be why, Alex. I'm just letting you know. I mean, you can't expect people to just say, like, those people down there deserve to get attacked. And, you can't say that, though. No, you can't say that. That's the case of it. The truth is that the amount of time that's being passed in regards to higher light and original light is massive. It's huge compared to what 1 second that I'm experiencing is thousands, hundreds of thousands, billions and trillions of years. Are you kidding me? For frig's sake, that's long. Look how long it was. For frig's sake. Well, because you could just go there and that would be why. That's the case of this. You know that? And why would they choose that route in regards to all of a sudden thousands of years are going by in certain places when I'm doing an advocation or whatever the hell else I'm doing down here? Why would it set up and work that way, huh? Well, the obvious is in the air, though. Will that be all right? All righty, then. Because that's what you said. That is the real true. So if there's that amount of time passing to fix things, already what? How many years? I mean, I don't even have to look at me. I can look at other history. Well, okay. It's a long time, but you know it. That's been the case. Well, that's also why I knock at that door of no effort prowess. See, this is the case of this. It's the real true. Well, then never mind then. You don't know why, because you never heard us, because that was always it. I mean, that was just what it is then. We're just the bad guys? Is that the case? There's a plan in place, and those key questions do need answering. How long have we been at it? Are we still on course? Okay, yeah. How long have we been at it? Sure. Are we still on course in regards to, is there that percentage that main spirit guide's indicating the original light still going that direction? All right, well, all right, yeah. Are we still on course? Are we on schedule? Long game mending. Again, long game mending. But some people don't hear that. And so who do you think takes care of that? Why do I look like the good guy here? For freak's sake. Well, that is correct. Well, that would be correct. Alex, you've been saying it all day. That's what they said. These guys were always just... Like, this is the case of this. Well, okay, well, no, I'm asking, like, why is it this way? Because there's certain spirit who are in conflict right now. And there's a forming up happening. They're trying to keep saying have happened. It might not necessarily be so. Well, that would be correct, because you're worried. Yes. Why is it that we wait? Okay, so but it's the same answer. Again, some people are waiting for invulnerable defense systems. If there's an amount of power that main spirit guides indicate in the original light that exists within the original dimensions and original non-dimensions, as well as the dimensions and non-dimensional, that resides with morality and goodness in the ways that main spirit guides indicated in the light, that resides with those that main spirit guides indicated in the original light. Like, here we are, like, how, like, where we, here we are being, like that. But there's such a thing as tact and diplomacy. To not say it's of morality and goodness. Well, all right. You don't know why, because that was why. That's what he did. That was what you did, Alex. But I don't have to go there for it. Okay. Well, that would be why. You suppress that point. That's all. There is such a thing as diplomacy and tact, Alex. You're wrong here. This is the case of this. You don't know why. They had to see you wrong. I'm going with what main spirit guides indicated. All right, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset. Well, you don't know why you suppress them. You suppress them for a reason. Well, that would be why. Alex isn't hearing this. Alex isn't hearing that you're going to try and put it on him, and that's also it. Oh, well, then that's going to be why. You didn't hear that. No way. Hell no. I'm not going to hear that it's my fault. For what? For running down some of the diary entry stuff, some of the harm and attack that you've done in regards to this process, some of the psych activity and the stuff involved, the movements and maneuvers, the historical in regards to it, the stuff that's already been understood and already been displayed everywhere, and big things infused and embedded in regards to information and other kinds. Heck no. I mean, it is. It's a question as to, okay, so if all that stuff does exist, then what the hell is going on here? Well, all right, yeah. And that's the thing of it. Again, some of us are waiting for the invulnerable defense systems that means guys need it, but we can't proceed unless those that mean spirit guides indicated sally forth in regards to what main spirit guides indicated, the way main spirit guides indicated in the light. And I've been saying it all damn day. I'm waiting for the defense systems that main spirit guides indicated. All right, then fine. You don't know why. It's all a decent, Alex, because that's what they say. They end up saying that that's the case of it. What's the case of it? You got shit to do with you. And that'd be why. All right, then frig. I mean, this is the case of this. We're going to try. I mean, that's the case of this. Because there's a battle forming up top. What do you think that day was? It's sort of. It kind of feels moot. I don't know what to tell you. Well, all right. Well, that'd be why. That'd be why, Alex. There's people who feel that way, who don't want to be doing it anymore. You don't know why. I don't think it's laziness. I don't think so. You don't know why, because Alex asked it. This is what he asked. That was the case list. You went there on it. Some of us don't want to because we're trying a certain game plan. And you know, some of it, this is the case list. And are we still on schedule? Are we still going the correct path on it? Is there still that percentage going that way? Or are we just coasting and stalling to finally say, oh, well, this was the thing of it. Well, all right, well, is that what's going on here? It's a valid friggin' question, isn't it? Unless it isn't. I mean, I guess, you know, this is the case of this, you know. Well, all right, you don't know. Well, that's what Alex did. Alex said, you know, that's the thing of it. This day, the first day of August, was quite a month. I got attacked in the mentality area quite heavily. And some are trying to say this from this content experience, but I don't know if it was. And if it is, me getting attacked in the past regarding it, there is something in regards to that, the shaping and potential lending towards it having have happened. Like, and then, you know, the stealing of karmic resources regarding some of it. And it's like, I'm not trying to be greedy, but I'm trying to be fiscally responsible. Let me why. Yeah, you know what? Let me why. You know what? These guys don't know why. So we're just upset then. That's all. They just don't like you. I might have the psychologicals in regards to my eyes to be protected. I'm just thinking, okay, well, whatever then. The second day, day 2. We're on day 2 for freaking mother effing star day. Multiple things this day. I had a dream about a certain kind of trailer, and in this trailer, it looked like I was like moving to the front of the trailer, and then opening a certain kind of spot, a certain kind of area. I don't remember fully in regards to it, but I do remember seeing certain bars at the bottom of it. And they were trying to insinuate some sort of storyline, like I was one of the storylines was that I was the good guy, and then I was this guy that they were insinuating, but I don't know if I am. I think it might be someone else, actually, to be true, for what's acceptably defined. It might be it might be a certain kind of aspect at times in regards to myself and others, but was insinuated as these bars reflected a certain kind. And now I think some were trying to insinuate that it was catching bad guys, but I think there was certain runs, getting people up above in a certain manner. Because that was actually what it was really about, certain pilots and drivers, spiritual, revealing themselves in a certain kind of manner that they don't usually. And that's what's said. They don't usually, but in certain kind of high turbulent situations, they reveal themselves sometimes, some of them, in a certain manner to bring forth a certain kind of coherency, a certain kind of direction, a certain kind of driving and piloting, and for some chauffeuring and things of that nature. And, you know, what was insinuated is that it had something to do with it, but it might not have, because there was another, well, this was one of them. And I remember I'll run it down what happened. So I got to bed, and of course, these days it's been late in the night and even early in the morning. I feel myself get shot out of a cannon multiple times. So this was on the 2nd. So it happened on the 2nd, where I felt like I got moved upwards in a very quick fashion, and quick instant flashes where I felt like I was being moved other dimensionally. I felt like I got bigged up other dimensionally, like I got moved to a bigger dimensional, you know, just was moving upwards in like certain kind of consciousness areas. But I'm not certain it, like, and some are saying that the physical might be a certain kind, but I'm not certain it is, at least not in the context that some are saying. There are dimensional existences that exist in a certain manner, which have been impacted by some of my actions in certain ways. So I think there was a certain group that was like, listen, we need to get out of here. And we need to move them out of here because of the certain kind of impact that was happening by way of my actions. There's a certain kind of life utilization in regards to certain aspects of ourselves and others from spirit guides, or upon a certain area in regards to impacting that sort of stuff that says for some of them considered buffer, and for certain kind of persons in near that buffer, and some that have been labeled as that are not that at all. where that sort of thing is considered, where they're like, we don't want him here because we don't want him affecting our lives in such a manner. We want him upwards. But by way of doing that, and some labeling that it's high impact, creating more snowball in regards to where some have to accelerate, deaccelerate in a certain manner instead of some, instead of not listening. Well, my main spirit guide's information regarding it is key. It is really is vital, and they do rely on other information that main spirit guides indicate in the light. There is groups up there that work specifically on acceleration and deacceleration, to a certain extent, in regards to events streamlining, in regards to heightened, increasing, higher up vibration, quick vibration, moving upwards, in regards to moving downwards, in regards to moving downwards in vibration, in regards to deaccelerating certain events, slowing down, streamlining of events. There's multiple kinds regarding it. And what happened and took place this morning was a certain kind of movement where I felt certain passengers, a certain kind of realism doing. It felt like realism. And one of the things I'm feeling is launches, like consciousness expanding and moving upwards. And it feels like, imagine that your head's a mountain and the mountain is going bigger, 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 and it's getting bigger and bigger. And that the mountain metaphor is your consciousness, and it continues to move upwards and upwards and upwards. That sort of stuff. So like this growing mountain in a certain place where there's not necessarily going to be, well, there might be certain kind of caps and points where we got to wait, where until there's a certain kind of access point. And some of them, I'm wondering if they're still waiting there. I mean, that's also it. I mean, that's a big one. And again, there's some stuff happening to me other dimensionally right now. I know there's some spirit guides are advocating for what main spirit guides chose for us to advocate in regards to the conflict that main spirit guides negated pertaining to September 4th, 2019 and September 5th, 2019. The way main spirit guides needed light, do what main spirit guides needed in the moments that main spirit guides needed pertaining to the conflict that main spirit guides needed, the way main spirit guides needed. Again, do what main spirit guides needed regarding the smart application, etc. Main spirit guides light, the way main spirit guides indicated in the light. I know those from Spirit Guides are advocating for Benjian and the magnificence that main Spirit Guides negate, as well as those that main Spirit Guides negate, and the terms that main Spirit Guides wanted me to utilize in regards to smart application, etc. For main Spirit Guides to do what for main Spirit Guides negate pertaining to the conflicts that main Spirit Guides negate in regards to September 4th, 2019 and September 5th, 2019, the way main Spirit Guides needed. Again, certain kind of interaction for some. There's certain pros, is what's said in regards to that revealed themselves this day. But again, I'll start to let know of it later in a bit. I got moved up quickly, and all of a sudden I realized that I was moving upwards quickly, dimensionally, vibrationally, and other kinds. That means guys needed. Felt like there was a Colosseum kind of movement around me, with me in the center and dimensional lower, like just a Colosseum around me, a lot of spirits around me, a lot of spirits moving upwards with me. It wasn't just me. It looked like a bit of an arms race. Some trying to label it that way, some trying to have it happen that way. When it potentially wasn't in a certain kind of context. But for some of it, it might have been. Again, some of the stuff that's up there in regards to getting certain kind of monetaries, stuff like that. But there's also stuff lower down as well. Again, yeah, there's stuff like that. All right, yeah, there was stuff lower down. And that's the case of it. You know what? Bit of a silence. Anyhow, there was moments of packing, moving upwards this day. I felt certain groups affected. So I woke up, I went outside, and there was a story interaction around me. And again, but before it kind of felt like a story feng shui, just with realism kind of feeling on it. They were doing it with like, spaceships and this. Well, not that one, but the one later on. The one later on was looking that way like it was story. The one beforehand, earlier on, looked like something else. It looked like certain spirits trying to survive. It looked like certain spirits trying to get me out of vicinity. It looked like certain kind trying to get me out of a certain kind of area. Then it turned into a story interaction where I went outside and it just felt like, any little thing that I do kind of felt like there was a huge spotlight on me, a certain kind of interaction taking place, where, certain kind of gods were interacting. It kind of felt like a certain kind of heavenly existence. That's that heavenly story kind of stuff that happens where we take a look at certain kind of symbolism and it connects with the story that's unfolding around me spiritually, that sort of stuff. And we talked about things, and the interaction was amazing for 15, 20, 30 minutes, which was a bit, well, it was about the same time frame that it was the day before when certain kind tried to do certain things. And the day before, interestingly enough, the first, well, no, it's still this day. It was on this day. All right, then frig. Yeah. So still on the second. Is it still on this? It was on the second? Oh, it was on the second. It was on the second. So that was why this day is big. Yeah, the second is a big day. 2nd of August, 2019, and I'm advocating for what women's guys needed regarding the women's guys needed. I and others women's guys are advocating for what women's guys needed for us to advocate in regards to August 2nd, 2019, and August 1st, 2019, the women's guys needed. So then this is why this takes place. Because that's how you feel. Yeah, I mean, how is that? Well, no, not necessarily. I feel the women's guides indicated, and this is the case list. So, alrighty then. So you're one of those. So you do that. One of these days. I don't think so. There's never supposed to be one of those days. And when there is one of those days, we're supposed to jump in and protect them. That's what you're supposed to do. We don't want to do that anymore, Alex. How long ago? That's what we're wondering. You thought it was halfway. You thought it was halfway, Alex. There's been tells that have told me that it's halfway. Some wanted it to be just before a quarter of the way. But I'm wondering, what one is it? Is it between? You don't know why, because you looked at something. You don't know why. That's McCheesemo. It's not McCheesemo. It's a good one. There's been multiple symbolisms that have shown that it's midday. There's been multiple symbolisms that have shown that it's sunset as well. That is actually true. There is a lot that have shown it to be that. And that would be the case. Anyhow, there is a regardless in the mix, because I can't imagine what it felt like in the beginning of the early ones, because I don't think it's early. I think it's past a quarter. I think it's at least past a quarter. I mean, that's just the logic. Past quarter what? Some are looking at something in higher, in higher light. The last time they did a certain kind of realignment in regards to taking stock of who wants to go where in a certain context, big context, safe context. But how long has it been since that happened? I mean, because it does matter. If it hasn't been too long, a certain kind of time frame since then it's that's that sort of thing. It's like, oh no. But there's still those ones where it has at times, I think, potentially where it did. But still, I think it's past a quarter. I'm fairly certain. Quarter past, eh? I think it's quarter past. Mm-hmm. Where something else becomes viable in a certain kind of sense. Well, okay. I mean, that is correct. That is some big stuff. But I was talking about in the context that makes guys negative, and that's it can work that way and does work that way. You don't know why, because you do go there. The second, so yeah, we continued going. The story interaction. All of a sudden, a certain kind of spirit came around me, and they were upset. I don't know. They were angry. I don't know fully why, and they tried to get me to be. No, that was the thing of it. They didn't really have too much of an excuse around me that day, at least not on my end. But the kind of attack that happened in regards to me and others forming spirit guides, that was the thing. There was a flash of light on the deck, front deck area, and it was like they're like, everyone's around you right now. And I believe them for some of it. I think there was. It was just one of those moments where there was a certain kind of spirit who were around me. That is one of them. That is one of those ones. A different kind to a certain extent. That one is a different kind. That one is a different kind, man. Holy. Certain kind of things like that, Alex. And we're looking at it because it's a bad thing. Like, what is it? You don't know why, because that's the way you go. You go this way for a reason. That's what we're going to do here. Later on, what would reveal is those pilots would reveal, would reveal them. Some of them would reveal themselves in a certain kind of manner. And I'm not looking for some of them to be attacked or harmed. There's people who need help, Alex. Listen, I feel the way Marine Spirit Guides indicated, and I go to the top is how I feel. The highest of us that Marine Spirit Guides indicate in the light. The ones that Marine Spirit Guides indicated in the light. There are ones that have never been involved in certain kind of violence and warfare, even from the beginnings of that sort of thing. And it's the ones that Marine Spirit Guides indicate in the original light that I and others from Marine Spirit Guides are requesting in the ways that Marine Spirit Guides indicated in the original light. We've seen what kind of process this is at times, and we've seen what kind of things that have happened around me and things that continue to happen around me. If we can prove that that's not fully needed, and I look at it from a certain viewpoint, well, that would be correct. Because that's not how you're supposed to be talking. Well, that is the thing of it, though. Well, alrighty. Okay, so then that would be correct. That's how we feel about it. You'll see. That's all. So when this life's over, they say that. They say that you changed too much. But then you slam them. You slam them hard, and that would be correct. Alex does slam them hard here. You don't know why. Would you attack someone? I'm not looking for attack. I'm looking for defense. Spiritual defense in the moments that Humane Spirit Guides indicate like this, this, and this, but that was always it. And that's the true of it. All right, fine. You are correct. And people believe that I'm good. Good. Not necessarily, no, not in another dimensional perspective, they might think I'm a pro, but in this life as Alex James Hislop, I'm fairly certain that some people consider me to be an amateur to a certain degree, but good. And that's the case. Because that's what I've been saying. I've been saying for saving and defending and living your life. Yeah, living your life. I do agree with that in a certain context because I feel it should be higher up above that should be just saving all those that Humane Spirit Guides indicated, regardless of whether I started this or was a part of the creation of something or whether someone else was a part of the creation of something or started something or learning your lessons and that sort of thing. Garbage! For freak's sake! Well, yeah, holy shit. Alrighty then, Alex. Well, that would be how you feel about it. I go the way Humane Spirit Guides indicate. Like my other dimensional selves would not like that. Exactly. That would be correct. But I feel like flipping a coin in somebody's face, and that's how I felt about it. Well, that'd be correct. That is it. That was how we felt about it. Well, you really did. You really did then. Because that's the case of this. You don't know why. They say that, but that's the garbage of it. Certain spirits, I don't know what to tell you. There is open channeling that happens in regards to this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend certain spirits in regards to talking about some of the stuff that's been happening, taking place. Thinking that certain spirits should save us in certain moments, that certain heaven should swoop in and protect us, is a God-given right. It's instilled, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing of it. Well, alrighty then. It is instilled. It's also, there's that sort of thing that I believe in, right to the core, and it's that sort of thing that says you're supposed to question it. You're supposed to ask about, should I be getting attacked in this moment? Because the answer to it is that you're not. And that's the true. And that's the case of it. They say you're tired. Yeah. I believe in my God Spark retrieval too, taking the God Sparks that Humane Spirit Guides indicated that are deployed where Humane Spirit Guides indicated, the way Humane Spirit Guides indicated to save those Humane Spirit Guides indicated. Oh, you're one of those, Alex. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pull a guy who's protecting a bunch of spirits to a certain degree, I mean, taking the other spirits that Humane Guides indicated, the way Humane Guides indicated, okay, well, that would be correct. You know why? Because there's a higher self that doesn't like you. This is the case of some guy who doesn't want to deal with this anymore, and he shouldn't have to. Because I'm looking higher up above, and that's the true of it, to a certain degree. Oh, don't come on. And there's nothing wrong with looking up above. I should be looking up above. Well, alrighty then. And it's not necessarily up above, but rather another section of the light, the good guys that Humane Spirit Guides indicated. Well, that's why, because they look at you. Well, that's why, because some of them are incarnate, Alex. But some of them aren't. And I don't know if I am. Listen, I might have anything to do with that, okay? This. Holy shit. Well, I would be correct. Look, the spirit understands you. Even if some of the physicals that watch this video don't understand what you're talking about, some of the spirit does. No, the spirit understands you. Because that's also it. I mean, there's some who did. And who feel that way. Oh, friggin' hell. I mean, I do care, but I don't know what you want from me. And why would it be set up that way? I mean, for freak's sake. What's the answer? Certain spirit that came from a darker existence, that a certain war ended, that experienced time, a quick time, that all of a sudden, like years later, or even minutes later, or seconds later, or months later, they're here. And some of them, that means Spirit Guides in here, that's what was insinuated in a certain spot, or in a certain spot, not necessarily here. In fact, probably not here, to be true. All right, by way of the safeguards and all the other things that have been pulled and seen and understood in this process, and others to a certain degree, probably don't want to be here. But somewhere, where then something said saying that, hey, this is not what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be experiencing a more toned down of what it was before, not a complete, totally different, nowhere near as kind of immorality experience that's being experienced to where they landed. That's a difficulty. That's one of those things where it's like, what were the stipulations? What was said? What was the agreements? What was the accords? Where's it supposed to be? Where's he supposed to be? Where was he driven? Where the heck did he go? I mean, what's it supposed to be? But, hiding those guys and just throwing them off to the side and locking them away, I don't know if that's the answer either. I don't even want to do that, man. I don't think so. No. No. Yeah, no. Well, that would be correct. I mean, because there's people like that. There's people who did shit like that. Well, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to, if I already lied to the original light to just save them. Just be like, can you just no one has to know. No one has to know. That's the thing of it. No one has to know, Alex. No one has to know. Exactly. No one has to know, Alex. That's how he said it. Well, that's the case of it, though. They should be saved in the Ways and Means for Guides Syndicate. Wait a second. That doesn't make sense. Why would he say that? Well, that would be correct. You think you're so suave, eh, Alex? Suave. You guys were always the ones who are trying to say that, trying to big it up. It got less to do with me and more to do with something else, the events that are taking place. Again, that conversation we're talking about was certain kind of spirit where certain spirit went away. That we're not supposed to be to a certain extent. And, I was saying to save, them in the Ways and Means Spirit Guides Syndicate. The original light needs to be, again, there's this sort of thing where it's like, no, it's a natural kind of thing. It needs, like, this is the thing. Well, what are you talking about? We need intervention. We need spirits to be saving some of us. We don't need this nature sort of thing. It's like, come on. How many other ways can you feng shui it? This is the case of this. Like, I mean, for real. Like, what the hell is that? Oh, come on. Come on. I'm saying I was prompting a certain kind of point regarding that there's a long list of feng shui pertaining to a bunch of other aspects regarding it. Why can't we just say it's just a Christmas miracle? Like, you can call it a bunch of different things. It's not literally Christmas, man. There could be a bunch of other ones. Jesus. Well, that's it. All right, fine. It's a metaphor. All right, fine. Well, okay, whatever. It's a Christmas miracle. It could be called nature. I don't know. Call it. That is not. Well, that would be why. That's what they said. You don't know why, because you knock at that door for a reason. Because that's why. If we can't have intervention down here to save some of the spirits that are in trouble behind the scenes, then what are we going to be able to do? What are we supposed to do then? Am we supposed to rely on the natural defenses that Mean Spirit Guides indicate? Okay, that's some of it, but if it doesn't stop all of it, then what do we do then? We don't want to have one of those moments where it's like some guy's getting attacked, he's not supposed to be getting attacked, and wait a second, oh, that was correct, that friggin' heck, that was the thing of it. I was already there, we were here, and it's like, I'm not glad that you guys have moved on, but even on your context, there's some certain spirits that Mean Spirit Guides indicated getting attacked. This is the case of it. Right there, for frig's sake. You don't know why. It's like, my God, just don't enjoy that you're hitting home here. Well, that'd be correct. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's the case. All right. I thought it was something else. And that's the part of it. Why wouldn't it be? That's, of course, it's needed. Why wouldn't it be needed then? Well, I don't know. I see you. It's just some of you are really big, so I don't know what to tell you. I think I'm in the wrong room. You are in the wrong room. That's one of them. One of the things that got said, for certain spirits is that sort of check the items. They're living certain life, and there might be certain items placed in certain places, and then if it's missing, that something means something, and they check the items, that sort of thing. But another one is that sort of thing. Make sure you're in the right spot, you're in the right room, and it's like, you got to check something. It's like, I think I'm, some are like, okay, I'm in the right room, but some are like, no, I'm in the wrong room. And it's not funny at all. You don't know what happens. Well, some of them just let people leave, but some of them don't. For some of it, potentially, and that's what's been. That was maybe, I don't know, maybe not. All right, there. You just say that. I would. My for one, these guys needed regarding. And later on, so it turned into this big conflict on the 2nd. I felt this big turbulent conflict, and a certain kind of spirit came around me, looked at the situation, and was fixing it. I could feel it being fixed. My memory discernment, I could feel a certain kind of conflict feng shui going on as I was going to sleep. And I went to sleep, and then I woke up later, and there was a spirit around me who was not supposed to be around me, I don't think. If I see that spirit, then something is going on, whether it be good or bad. There's something happening. All right, then fine. And sometimes I think there's some who visit who just for, just to say, oh, hey man, what's going on? It's just one of the, just maybe to let know that there is ones that do exist where they just come around me. And then there's probably moments of that when I'm sleeping or things like that, to a certain degree, because that's also a way, because you saw that, and that's just it. That's the case of this. I mean, but it expands beyond that. I don't know if I got attacked when I went to sleep, but I would have said that had I not woken up and felt the way I did. Because I went to the bathroom and there was some spirit there letting me, speaking to me in a certain kind of fashion, trying to label it like I'm some of the spirit of the bad guy. Again, they tried labeling on the first that I was the bad guy, and the second they tried to do, but I saw two spirits. I saw one in my bathroom, I was sitting down, and then one outside on the deck. And I don't know what it's all about. And they say that maybe the person on the deck was the bad guy and the person in the bathroom is the good guy. But, again, this is one of those tells as to, like, if we don't fully know who the bad guy and the good guy are, and there's other tells regarding, what's the way of it? I mean, is there just not supposed to be a truth to understand who's the good guy and the bad guy? We're supposed to guess? Is that a safe way? Well, all right, you don't know it is a safe way. You don't know why it works that way. Because that's why, because Alex is tired of all this. He's tired of the nonsensicals. It's not nonsensical, okay? But I don't know what you want from me. Like this? Like, that's the case of this. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You said this to me. And that's why. That's why. This guy said this, and he's you. This is what it says. This is you saying this. That's what it says. Is it? These psychologicals out of my eyes here. All right, well then fine. You don't know why, so I'm sorry. You don't know why. Huh. Later on, it'd be like a moment where they were sort of trying to calm someone down, like certain aspects of myself earlier on in the first, Alex. It was the first, not the second. It wasn't the second. It was the first. That was correct. It was okay. So it was on the 1st of August that I saw those spirit in the bathroom and the spirit on the deck. That was the truth of it. It was on the 1st after I'd woken up. I went to sleep again early morning. Early morning, I went to sleep and I was done. So we were getting attacked on the 1st. Multiple people were. I felt my certain aspects of myself in the attic, what they call the attic, like upper part of a certain kind of anatomy. Some were trying to save certain spirit, I think, to a certain degree. Some were trying to stay safe. I went to sleep. I woke up and there was a spirit in the bathroom trying to talk someone out of it or trying to let me know of certain things in a certain kind of fashion. So yeah, I mean, that was also it. They were trying to label it on the 1st. So wait, I mean, was that what it was? They made you to be the bad guy there. And you could see like the amount of influences on that the 1st of August, 2019 is just, it's unbelievable. It's insurmountable. Like, look at that. How much resources to go in to get somebody to look bad. Oh my God. I mean, that's really it. I mean, you could just display it here. Like, this works, and this is the case list. Just know that it's being displayed. I mean, that's the case. But all right, whoa, all right. So that's just why. That's what you said on this one. Well, and it's done. There's nothing else to say then. We were doing that for a good thing, Alex. And Alex has seen too much. Alex has seen too much, Alex. And that's just the case of it. You got attacked at times. That's what it says. Don't know what to tell you, but I'm trying to defend myself at times. And when you're trying to label it something, and when I've been attacked in regards to some of this and have felt attack in multiple regards, I don't even have to look at that. I can look at every day. What's it been every single day in the time frames that Main Spirit Guides indicate pertain to the dimensional selves that Main Spirit Guides indicated, the way Main Spirit Guides indicated? How about that one? All right, then fine. So that was it, right? So that was what you did. So, well, I still need to be able to speak here, and he's still going. We're still on the 2nd day, for crap's sake. Please, August 2nd, 2019, we're going to get through this. Well, you don't know why. I'm not laughing. That's just what this is. And that's why they're trying to pick at that sort of thing. But that's the case of this. That's the difference right there. So yeah, this is the case of this. All right. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was what you did. So that's just the case of this then. Because there's one side that wants to poach certain people, and there's one side that wants to be defended in a certain fashion. And in the mix of it all is certain spirit that are like, we're going the way our main spirit guide's indicated in the light, and we're sick of the bull crap and us getting attacked and harmed in the mix of it all. Or yeah, to a certain degree, in regards to certain infighting and attacking each other through some of us. All right, yeah. That's really what it is. So yeah, later on, certain drivers revealed, and it felt like we were moving upwards. There was a certain kind of launchings and spirit moving upwards. They did it in a certain kind of realism fashion, but there was a bit of an emphasis in regards to why they were doing it in a realism fashion. Why were they doing it this way? But I think there was an aspect of realism that was there, saying, "Listen, there's certain areas that we're going to situate, and that's the case." And then there was this other aspect of it that was so a bit. I don't know. There's just something there, and I don't know why. Later on in the day, they would try and feng shui something just as it was going to bed again. Uh, on the yeah, well, just as you were going to go to bed, yeah, just as I was going to go to bed, they dropped a line in regards to looking at a certain game, Deus Ex. Uh, Deus Ex is a certain kind of video game, no matter for what you guys need regarding it. But they tried to attach something. They tried to do multiple things in regards to it. They tried to say that I was affecting certain kind of future regarding. This is the big one. But I don't know if people like this is the case of this. It's one of those ones where they had said that I had done something bad by way of going into the game because they had said and insinuated certain things in regards to it. I was curious. I was interested. And one of the things was revealing to certain kind of anti-camp certain kind of negative spirits that sometimes work against, some kind of certain spirits of immorality, certain kind of spirits of certain kind. And sometimes it's not of immorality or of negative. Sometimes it's just of certain spirits who live a certain kind of way of life. Spirits who attack and well, for some, or make fun of it, and certain things like that. And a certain kind of reveal was going to happen upon it. I don't think that was my sole motivation for continuing to play the game. To play this video game that Main Spirit Guide's indicated. And again, I don't consider the physical video game if you're trying to consider that to be in a certain kind of manner for what's acceptable being defined by Main Spirit Guides and Main Spirit Guides indicated. It is one of those things where I continue to play because there's also another one where it said like if you find an Omni tool in that game, like there's something waiting there for you. And I'm like, okay, spiritually, I'm like that sounds amazing. But the real motivation was that I just wanted to see the room. I wanted to see the room for a reason. Because I wanted to see I just wanted to see the gaming atmospherics. That's all. I really dig the impressions and the feeling of that game. I remember the beginning room to be sort of, I don't know, just something about it. And that is the real true. All right. Yeah. Okay. So for Alex, it really was that. That's why I got off the bed. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to play a little bit of that game. That was the thing of it. Look, I don't know what to tell you, but they tried to feng shui it a certain way, and they tried to say that there was a certain kind of thing happening in regards. So you should read this part of it. They said that I decided I wanted to help to see. I decided I wanted to see the beginning level again. And upon a quick install, I booted the game. Before there was insinuations, though, I was installing. There was something going on with the game. Different iterations of the game, like the game itself, has a certain kind of schedule plan. In regards to its viewing, a certain kind of content regarding, again, you'll watch content experiences and you'll notice other dimensional stimuli and things like that in regards to different kind of content experiences and a certain kind of life cycle. For some, it might be that, but I don't know if I want to view it that way. I view a certain kind of content schedule. Again, imagine if you listen to a song and there's other dimensional information within that song, different songs that are playing in other dimensional through that song. And if you listen to that physical song again, another dimensional song, that there's a different song playing in regards to it. And you're like, oh, that's really cool that if there's like another spiritual version of that song that's playing through it, and then when you play that physical song, another dimensional song again, that there's a different spiritual song playing through it. Imagine that that one song could be considered more like an album, and an album like a catalog, or like more of like multiple albums, but we don't know what you'd call that, maybe a discography for some. There's ones like that. But you imagine that for gaming, for film, for movies, for things like that. So I did notice a certain kind of content schedule regarding it, and it was low. Okay, so but there was still some there, meaning that there wasn't as much content attachment to it to a certain degree in a certain context. Okay, I played the game. I continued into the game even though some warned me not to. There was like some spirit were like, don't do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still playing this game, man. I don't know what to tell you. And this was not the move. I felt it might be some that were trying to not get me to view the game, partially because of a let know, because that it was in regards to my anti-camp, in which, there might be a revealing in regards to certain things had I, just play a bit of the gameplay, like that sort of let know, like a certain spirit lets know of it. That was some of it. I mean, I was sort of wanting some of the anti-camp to understand some of the stuff that was happening in a certain context. I do believe in certain kind of truth and stuff like that. I proceeded not because I wanted to reveal, but I did see it, and it did want me to play the game even more. I went in the game, and it was insinuated there was something that was changed in the future, that there was a person's life being affected who was going to turn out to be moral, in which upon something happening, in which I discerned to be informational attachment on my side of the screen, I didn't understand why it would change his life, and the future was called upon. I felt a certain kind of calling upon future in a certain kind of sense. They were monitoring the situation in a certain kind of regard. But because of some of these situations that were unfolding, that it just looked a bit chaotic at times. It was strange that a device was deployed on my chest area. I felt a chest area, a certain kind of um, device put on my chest area. Like I felt other dimensional stimuli get put on me at times. At times I felt my memory get affected. At times I felt other dimensional aspects of myself get maneuvered. Certain kind of things put on me in other dimensional in multiple regards. The long list of medical observation is probably nowhere near for some of the other ones that some have seen, but still it's there. There's things there, and people can see it. And one of the things that felt like a certain kind of interaction. It felt like they were utilizing a certain kind of overlap. Like in Star Wars when they turn on the view screen and there's like this like imagery of a person from afar and you can speak to them, communiques. But it's called something. It's I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's that sort of thing. Digital overlap, where it's like this, like displaying someone of a hologram. Thank you, holograms. I felt like a certain kind of hologram, certain kind of thing placed on me. But they also insinuated something else, and they did something else that day, and I'll let know of it in a bit here. I didn't understand why it would change his life, and it was strange. A device exploded in my chest area, in which I had nothing to do with it afterwards, in which my lungs would get to a point where I felt some of my breathing suppressed. Either way, hologram popped out, and someone was said to have been utilizing my life in a certain manner, multiple flotilla in regards to my life, and someone which potentially bigger flotilla from afar. It was said that a moral person turned bad, but I'm not. I don't think. I don't think that's true. I don't know if it's true. They said he was in my house and home, and that he hurt my family in another dimension. That's one of them. This was one of the ones. Oh well, and I don't even know what to say about any of this. But I don't know if they wanted me to write this down to affect that sort of thing. And I don't know if it's true. Maybe it was to try and have it happen. I don't know. Well, there might be. I don't know though. It felt real. Like they insinuated, and I did get scared. I got scared. I started crying. I got scared, and they said something huge happened. I paused when I went outside, and some accused me of trying to set this up, and that somehow I wanted somehow to have wanted someone's future to change. I came back and saw something on the computer screen and changed my life. So said thousands of years of therapy off of the information being seen that some were trying to have affect this will potentially game creation. I'm adding for the disclaimers that means doesn't need the light, that means doesn't need to do what means doesn't need regarding the gaming, that means doesn't need the way means doesn't need. This is the kind of stuff, that the heightening of lines around me that people need to understand. And one of the things I screamed out there, I'm like, why aren't you setting my interaction to reflect what main spirit guides indicated in the light in this kind of garbage? This is the kind of stuff. All right, yeah, well, it is though. All right, it is. No, that was correct. I wonder about circumstance and what brought some to do such a thing. But I look around at what I've been doing sometimes. I still don't feel it to be what some think. Again, the informational placement only it pertains to what Marine Spirit Guides indicated. I have informational safeties even before the informational safety information was created. There was advocations. There was a large percentage of disclaimers, testifications, and advocations that had ripple effect information. Safeties in regards to it, not just in the physical, but on the spiritual as well. Um, It was one of those things where they tried to feng shui me psychologically behind the scenes was another thing they were doing during it. I remember going out my front lawn, and just it looked like a complete it looked like a battle was taking place to a certain extent, a certain kind of battle in regards to a certain area that was taking place, and it kind of felt like it was from afar. I don't know if it was from afar, but it kind of also felt like it was affecting certain kinds of things in regards to Earth. I ran down my diary entry out there. I ran down certain advocations and certain things of that nature. Some of it was filmed. I felt a certain kind of spiritual, other dimensional stimuli happen when I went back in the house. But one of the things they did was attack my back area, like a certain kind of baggage area in regards to other dimension. They said that they attacked it, explosions, that sort of thing. Adam for One Main Spirit Guides indicated regarding. I potentially did advocationals. I don't fully know. I remember the day after, and then I think I tried to do advocationals. But I'm advocating for what Main Spirit Guides indicated regarding. I know the Spirit Guides are advocating for what Main Spirit Guides indicated regarding. I think some of it was smoke and mirrors, and that is the true, because that's why. It's a test. But that was also it. That new one. Yeah, that new one. Friggin' hell. That's the way you felt. Well, then why do you even this is the case of this? So, all right, that would be correct. Hey, this is the true. I want to be talking to people who I want to be talking to, not them. For Christ's sake, if that's what it is. All right. You don't care about that, eh? I do care about that in the ways of Mage Guys, and I'm asking for intervention in the ways of Mage Guys indicated. Some of that apocalyptic stuff in regards to other spiritual, I'm asking for saving in regards to all in the way of Mage Guys. Just save all of them. Come on. It'd be quick. It'd be nothing. It'd be nothing. It would be. You don't know why, because from Alex's point of view, that's the case of this. Don't lie now. Because they can do an instant quick flash and save most people in this physical universe. And it'd take barely anything. And that's the true. You don't know why, because that's what's happening here. They're not lazy. There's something else at play. Yeah, well, there's a reason, but you haven't fully explained some of the reasonings, because we can't. That's the case of it. Then, what's the recourse? Because that's also it. We've looked at it from the perspective that says that we're trying to do it a certain way, that mends a certain kind of portion of God Spark in a certain kind of medium game and long game approach. But the problematic with that is that we've looked at it from that sort of thing and says, okay, well, if we save everyone quick, then all of a sudden the conflict goes to higher areas or lower areas, and both multiple, where then somebody has to hold it down to a certain degree, which I go to everyone and say, let's deal with it. In the ways that Main Spirit Guides indicated, those that Main Spirit Guides indicate the way Main Spirit Guides indicate. But the other thing is that, so, okay, well, never mind, wait a second. So we go medium game and long game. And what's that mean for the smalls and those who are getting harmed now? Because there's been this just sort of thing. I mean, you look at it from that perspective, and that's the thing of it. Anyway, we talk about things like this. This is one of the things we talk about. Again, it doesn't warrant people getting attacked over. It's one of the most talked about discussions ever. It is. It has to be a top 10. If you're talking about mending and healing, in regards to some of the schisms and catastrophic events and recoveries, the emergence of immorality, it's got to be a top 10. I would warn to guess top 5 almost. I'd say almost. It has to be. It got to be. Well, if it got to be, what if it's a top 100? Oh, my God. Then it's even worse. All righty then, Alex. You got it. That's the case of it. It's even worse. Because that's the truth. That was the case of it. He looked at, he did that, and that was the truth. That's the case of it. Because there's people forming up. Because you looked at it from that point of view. Like, this was the case of this. It would always be. It's got the largest lines. It always did. It does. It really does. Those the viewpoints that Main Spirit Guides thinking in regards to just saving everybody has the biggest viewpoint. It has the largest lines. It was always the correct. And that is the true. It's got the largest correct line that Main Spirit Guides indicate. It's the real case of this. All right, yeah. It does. And that was the truth of it. It's just a natural, man. You don't know why. They try to do it this way. Well, that's just what it is. You should be defending the entire group, man. Look, you don't deserve to get attacked. We just talked about it. It's one of the biggest things talked about. Even if it's a top 100, heck, a top 100,000, it'd still be. Well, that's why, because that's why they did. You don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. Far not removed. I went to. I think I went to Nona's this day. No, maybe not. Anyway, August 3rd, I was a bit sad and removed. There was a portion of myself, or what I discerned upon coming back and noticing my personality emerge here and there, and understanding other dimensional selves and all personal, as well as those utilizing my life, as well as my as well as form, personality, etc. Utilization, in which at times, from my end, can be difficult to fully gauge, and which my spirit guides information fully defines. It's one of those things that I just didn't fully. It's just been one of those things that I sort of looked at to a certain extent. You don't know why. Yeah, live your life, people. This is the case. This ain't got shit to do with it. This is the real true. All right. You don't know why, because it's a big line. I'm not pointing at events trying to shoehorn the stuff that's happening around me on events. I am saying that events are taking place because they are. You can't say that me eating a piece of toast was the problem as to why a bunch of people got killed, murdered, attacked in such a fashion, and sit there with a straight face to actually think that that's really what it is. Whether you get away with it or not, it's not. It ain't got crap to do with it. Either way, even if there is a feng shui of that to sort of happen, where when I eat the toast that people are getting harmed, it shouldn't be. That's it right there. And I'm not blaming people who are like, listen, we were trying to save a bunch of people either. I am saying, though, that there does need to be. I am saying, though, that it's something else. It's even beyond that. All right, fine. It is beyond that. I'm not saying we shouldn't have defense, because we should. Onwards and upwards. Yeah, we continue to see that it has less to do with the kind of things that I'm creating for what's acceptable. Is that unfair? Yeah, they would point towards some of the things I would create. But my defense in regards to that airtight, I have continued to defend myself in different kinds of manners, and coupled with the kinds of things that have been, that the spiritual have been defending me with, specifically in regards to informational creation, as well as defending others. I mean, Spirit Guides indicated should be and is sufficient in the ways that you guys indicated. But, again, someone takes a look at it and says, if we're going to continue to increase resources back and forth, then what exactly is that? And then some people say, well, that might be why we have some of those intervals in regards to certain kind of deployments. So certain good spirits go in, feng shui the process, situate, and then certain bad guys have their kind of turn. Is that it? You don't know why it is. No. I do see the point in that. I do see that feng shui where it's like, instead of hundreds of thousands of spirits attacking one another, I'm out for defense in regards to myself and others. Spirit guides, you guys needed. That sort of thing says single combat. Whoever wins out of that single combat, that sort of thing. But there's also the ones that say who would have won in regards to that 100,000 versus that 100,000. A single combat kind of thing where the movements are reflective to what would have happened in the battle in a certain kind of fashion, and who would have won the battle happens. And there is a certain kind of way of doing it in the free-flowing combat with spiritual, influences to sort of dictate how that goes, and reflecting the win in regards to that sort of battle, and metaphorical, verses to a certain extent. So there is those sort of ways, but again, I adhere to what Marine Spirit Guides indicated, because metaphorically, that's what it would be. Oh, metaphor, you are correct. All right, well, that is correct. That's why we had to do a certain kind of thing in regards to it, Alex. But that's the thing of it, though. He said, you don't hear that. I do hear it, but I don't want to hear it. I hear what Marine Spirit Guides indicated regarding. You know what? But he came over here and attacked me, and that's what he did. You see, that's the case of this. That's what they say. See, these guys were always this. They always said you were. And he doesn't say that it is. You don't know why it is. This is what we're saying here. I choose what Marine Spirit Guides indicate in the light. You don't know why. Because you don't know. Because they always made fun of it. Is that it? Yeah, I worshipped female this day, and the kind of the kind of stuff that you can do with your belief mechanisms and faith mechanisms and worship mechanisms, things of that nature. There is power regarding. You can do worship daily, and it's a head area mechanism. You do a certain kind of worship impression. It's more than worship impressions. It's worship mechanisms, and it's there in the head area. There's a bunch of different mechanisms, utilization regarding that people can do that some don't feel. I'm having worship mechanisms to be protected, which doesn't he? Well, that is what he said, but that is be correct here, Alex. You're done. That's all. You want to know why the bad guys moved in? They didn't move in for shit. Are you kidding me? All right, okay. Well, that does work, and that's the case of it. Because that was the case. This guy's coming at you. They need to look that way. No, I don't want it even to look that way. Okay, it shouldn't look that way. But if everybody knows that what it is, then what is the problem? The problem is that it's not everybody who knows it that way. The problem is that you think that it does, but it doesn't. How is it that I'm the one explaining certain kind of spiritual mechanics here? Like, for shit's sake, you don't have to worry about it. This is the case list. They get you to go that way. That was always the thing of it, though. Wait a second here. We got a long list for freaks that go through for those that mean spirit guides indicated. Well, that would be why. Well, that'd be why. Some people did. That's all. Well, that would be correct. You do. Alex, I don't know what to tell you, but we're only the fourth day here. All right, fourth day. Eh? This is the case list. Do another video tomorrow. No, hell no. Get this done. Let's get this out of here. I worship female, and some people freaked out, and some conflict took place. I went outside on Earth, and there was just a bunch of quick story kind of stuff, high impact stuff, but a refinement regarding that sort of system. I could feel certain kind of things happening to a certain degree. There was a certain kind of group that came by on the 5th, 2019, took a look at some stuff, said, hey, please, like, this is the thing of this. It's not a bad thing to worship certain female. It shouldn't be a crime. And that's the case of it. All right, well, then that's really it. They're saying that it has to do with how you interacted here. And that's just not going to be good enough. So if that's the case, then what's the problem? Okay, okay, all right, there we go. Did the women's spirit guides indicated? So yeah, but it was really interesting looking at the pictures. There was a sort of kind of story in regards to female. There was it felt like there was a certain kind of gender and humanity thing around me that day. And again, we're looking at certain kind of ripple effect, and it's like it should not be this way in regards to spirit of gender coming into vicinity, spirit of species coming in vicinity, a certain kind, even if it's especially if it's messenger or not, a certain portion, a certain kind of God spark regarding. Should not be that ripple effect. If it has anything to do with it, this is one of those things where some people would take a look at it. It's like, it would be. That's what some would claim. They'd be like, this is, it's not okay at all. Imagine the spirit, a certain spirit of humanity just kind of moving past, and you're like, yeah, that's amazing. And then it's just this large conflict of like, and some of it isn't that at all. Because you look at it from that perspective. I look at it from that perspective for a reason. I don't believe you. You know that? I don't believe it. There's a certain guy in regards to that, and too bad. Okay? Too bad. Because that was really, you're looking like the bad guy even more so every day. Move past it. Look the other way. Look at a bunch of other things. Content, experience, facilitation. Eh? All right. Well, that would be correct, Alex. Because you're noting that this guy's looking like the bad guy more so than the bad guy who was. You don't have to hear that crap. You don't have to hear it. This is the case of this. You're gods, man, in the place that means spirit guides indicated. Forget it. Freaking hell. Like, you think that trick's gonna work? Well, no, that'd be correct. That is why. That would be correct, Alex. That trick isn't gonna work. Well, that was always why. You always try to. Look, I'm letting you know. Don't go that way. You don't have to go that way. So there's something else at play here. Yeah, no shit. Maybe. I mean, this is the case of this. You know, those should not be around here. They should be over there where Mean Spirit Guides indicate. Exactly. These guys shouldn't even be around me. But, all right, this is the true. Some of them are above my pay grade. Well, some of them, it's not meant as literal pay grades. Some of it's just meant as like some are in a different kind of sphere of influence. Some are just, you know, I don't know. It's not necessarily like that. I don't look at sometimes literals in regards to saying it like that by way of economic, all right. I go with the way Mean Spirit Guides indicated regarding it. The fifth, certain kind of, World War II impressions. I felt some interaction in regards to World War II and things of that nature. Yeah, I'm getting tired here, man. This was just this day right here. So this would be why. So this would be the case of this. This is why this happens. You don't know why now. So then we lose. That's what it says. And it's not about that. Look, I'm not trying to harm people here. I'm saying that I'm running out of energy, and I'm letting you know. Like, I'm all right. Like, I could do it to the fifth, and I could try and carry it on tomorrow. Just run down the quick stuff then. The fifth, like, the sixth. Let's go to the sixth here. Well, if you can't power through that, then what the hell are we gonna do? I'm just telling you, man. I already got that content done. The sixth, certain kind of spirit came around me and tried to dictate my my direction, my life path, made it difficult to operate, low, affecting energy, attacking energy bodies, harassing and haranguing, making it difficult in regards to motivation, in regards to carrying on. Number seven, August 7th was talks about people staying behind, things of that nature. Was on people's minds. We were talking about it a bit, that sort of thing that says spirits moving upwards and onwards, and that sort of stuff that, what are we going to leave those who are supposed to be holding it down and who have to try and hold it down? And yeah, that is a good, thinking point. How about those who already did traverse upwards before this life, my life and others from Spirit Guides, and what were they left with? I mean, that's a decent question. Wait a second. That's one of the biggest questions of all. It really is. I mean, who were some of the powerful spirits that moved on? We see God mechanisms at times, be utilized at times in a certain fashion where we take a look at it and we're like, wait a second, like it seems like some bigger other God had, went upwards in a certain kind of manner to try and help certain spirits or move on. I don't know. So, I mean, where are the replacements? I mean, Spirit Guides indicate. How about some updates on that ish? Yeah, yes, here, yeah. Yeah, that'd be correct. So yeah, why again? There's a certain kind of attack and implosions happening this day. Someone, yeah, well, that would be correct. This is the case list, and it's not funny. It isn't. This is an Alex. They influenced, man. They influenced certain psychological behind the scenes, and my eyes with some of them. My chest, Chester, yeah, they've been doing stuff, man. I'm out for clarifications in regards to my emotion infrastructure that MH doesn't pertain to September 4th, 2019, the way Mean Spirit Guides indicated. Yeah, I'm out for anti-camp to be protected in regards to August 9th, 2019, the MH doesn't need a for the anti-camp applications that MH doesn't need to be split. MH doesn't need every time to be defended. MH doesn't need. Number 10. All right. See, this was manageable. That was caseless. We need to keep moving here. Continued activity, early morning happenings taking place in regards to breath and motion. I was having difficulty breathing. A sort of thing I've thought about how someone looks, and so said the thought created and led towards how they looked. Yeah, high impact stuff like thinking like someone looks like a bird, and then certain spirits saying that that's why he was shaped like a bird. That high impact sort of thoughts, sort of stuff happening. To a certain degree, and it's been contained in a certain manner. And there is teams that have been doing a really stellar job on some of that stuff that Mean Spirit Guides indicated. But that night wasn't. That night, it was the 4th. We're talking about the 4th. That was the case list. Huh. Well, maybe they feng shuied certain kind of things. It kind of looked like a certain kind of thing. I had moved upwards, and it kind of looked like that sort of stuff that had been happening a couple months previous in regards to when I pursue intimacy. And there was a certain thing that said that I was going to pursue intimacy, and then I did pursue intimacy that night. That was a truth. Later on, after doing female worshiping, I ended up pursuing intimacy. That sort of stuff that said that certain kind of spirit or certain kind of a conflict in regards to, it was a bundle of conflict in regards to certain kind of intimacy being pursued. Some people thought it was something that it wasn't, and I guess it ended up happening when I was doing the worshiping pertaining to female cartoon form on Pinterest, that sort of stuff. But I was higher up, and I could discern up all of it. That's why I felt like I was higher up. I felt like there was a certain kind of thing in regards to it. I'm not for women's guys needed regarding, but the kind of stuff that was happening in regards to targetings and things like that. That was one of them. Like, I'm out for my family to be protected when she goes, this was the thing in this. All right, well, that was the case of it. He did let know of it, but it isn't. It can't be. Like, it's just too much, man. Well, that's really what you said. I said what main spirit guides indicate. I said it's just too much at times. Like, there needs to be something changing. Shark Week, August 10th, 2019. Watched a couple episodes Shark Week. One of the things I noticed was a certain kind of nature spirit around me. And I don't know what happened between now and then, August 10th, 2019. It's about 24 days, 25 days. Something was deployed where it just changed my entire. Well, no, it slowly started creeping, changing my perception and behind the scenes beings and mentality in regards to nature spirit. And I think maybe it had to do with me saying a certain kind and saying it's not good enough. Where somebody said, okay, well, if it's not good enough, then at least we should have it reflect to a certain extent, and then have it feng shui a certain kind of way. So if it was that sort of thing, there's still such a thing as that, though. There is still a rapport. There is that thing where when some spirit do battle, they have respect regarding each other, and I don't like the disrespect of having in regards to certain kind, even kind that I have difficulty having a certain kind of rapport with. For example, I did navigation in regards to the lion. One of the offer verbal, physical by myself. One of the myself and others in which potentially was heard. Yeah, I do certain kind of advocationals. What was being brought up was a bit too soon, I feel. It was this sort of thing that said I was impacting species creation. Now, someone who was bringing around certain overlaps in regards to might take a look at certain kind of impact and said, we're actually, like, this is the thing of it. And that's a part of it. That sort of impact is too soon. It's not supposed to be this heightened, I feel, early on. Maybe I'm wrong, because there's been stuff where I'm like, okay, well, someone has planned for this one, for this high impact, but some didn't. And I don't know if I'm one of them. I don't know. You don't think, you think you planned for something else. I don't know if I planned for some of this. That means for guides indicated. Just letting know. Like, display what means for guides needed regarding what you needed. Should be let know to a certain extent. The ones that means you guys indicated. All right, well, all right, fine. That one is decent. Okay. So, I mean, that was why, though, because there's a certain kind of tell in regards to it. You don't think you planned for this life? I don't know. It's difficult to discern at times. There's an aspect of myself that wasn't supposed to be in the mix here in a certain manner that is innocent and decent. It's just like, listen, I have nothing to do with this, man. I was just living a life, man. Is the real true? And some people are like, oh, he's one of those. No, he's not one of those. Okay? He's one of those. All right, you don't know why. Well, that would be correct. And wait a second. Oh, yeah, all right, well, but you brought yourself into the fold in this. This is the case of this, well, to a certain degree. But, does that all of a sudden mean that we don't deserve defense? No. Yeah, so this idea that they were bringing around certain kind of spirit of well, I don't know if spirit of species, but there's this idea of species shaping in regards to evolution, in regards to multiple things. And there's this idea that was doing certain verbals. One of the things I did was in regards to lions, because I went to the Lion King, and it was just this thing about lions for that week, and that was just one of those things. And it kind of was a couple other things afterwards. There was a couple things in regards to the shark, in regards to the spider. Have two fears, sharks being the prime and spiders being the secondary. And there's a thing like that. And no, don't do that, for Christ's sake. No, well, that'd be why. No. But then they said it wasn't the shark. Alrighty, then it wasn't the shark. What is that supposed to mean? They said that it wasn't the shark for a reason, and I don't fully know why. But certain storyline regarding it. They said it was the spider. Alright, but I don't know if it's that either. Alrighty then, because you don't think it's that either. So what the hell are you? No. You don't know why, because you're taking a long time. Hurry up. I gotta keep moving. No. They're scaring me with other dimensional stuff right now, like insects and things like that. Ah! This channel didn't see it, but you saw it. That was the difference. Oh, whatever then. The 11th. God damn it. I can't even go through some of this stuff. Like, this is the real true here. Because I'm not... this day was... I noticed a certain kind of purge happen with my mother. She took a THC gummy, and it was too much. And there was just a certain thing that I noticed from it is that there was another dimensional aspect that was puking and doing other things like that. I had watched, I'm advocating for what Mainstream Guides indicated regarding. There was some stuff happen right there, especially when I went on Earth and I was doing certain kind of call word work, and it just, I got moved dimensionally to a certain area in a certain kind of context. I don't know what they were doing inside this office this was August 11th, 2019 evening, and then it got dark. It was, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm advocating for what Mainstream Guides indicated regarding. It was just a run amok sort of stuff, but I did do my thing. I did let know of certain things. I was in a certain kind of area, a certain kind of utility area is kind of what I discerned, or an auxiliary area at certain points in time. I don't know if it was that per se, but something to do with the devil as well that day. I tried to help the situation when it was happening. I tried to do, educationals and things of that nature. I tried to help. I'm advocating for what Mainstream Guides needed regarding those spirits. I'm advocating for recovery and what Mainstream Guides needed regarding what Mainstream Guides needed. I'm also advocating for Alex Online, that means Spirit Guides negating others, for Spirit Guides to be protected, which does need it. Well, I'm advocating for the implementation that means you guys. No, not that one. I am advocating for what means you guys needed regarding the safety of those that means you guys needed the way which does need. I am advocating for what my main Spirit Guides indicated. The day before, I had watched Die Hard with a Vengeance. There was multiple storylines throughout the whole dang thing that I watched that was synergying with my process and others for Spirit Guides. It's been one of those movies on my mind at times. It's been one of my favorite movies for a while now. And there was a discernment in regards to that sort of battle for Hollywood kind of storyline, that sort of stuff that says that the bad guys going in trying to steal that gold. There was a bit of a couple different storylines that I recognized. One of them had to do with the treasure hunts that were happening to a certain degree. That was one of them. But one of them also had to do with that sort of stuff that says there was a certain kind that went into Hollywood at one point in time, and also currently. And there's something happening to a certain extent. Again, I'm out for careful, in regards to it. I'm out for what means you guys need regarding. There's also something that happened on the 11th in regards to the devil. I'm out for the devil to be protected. What you guys need. I'm also advocating for what you guys need regarding the smart application, etc. What you guys need. This day, I woke up early morning. Certain kind of interaction. Some were trying to get me to argue. Didn't necessarily, something else happened. They ended up deploying a certain kind of thing where kaiju kind of stuff and things of that nature. Dimensional existence facilitation in regards to certain things, but also understanding and knowledge regarding some of that stuff. to a certain extent is needed, because there is some realism aspects to it to a certain degree. Yeah. A lot of talk in regards to me being born, in regards to what the hell would have taken place instead, in regards to the differences in regards to me being born, and things of that nature. Yeah, I got hurt this day. I got hit in the head. Someone attacked me. It's later on. There was a stone being storyline that got wrapped in certain kind of anxiety energies and intimacy energies, like a diaper, in regards to it. And it's this weird sort of thing in storyline to a certain extent. That's been one of them. Another one had to do with the heart area. I felt a heart area, another dimensional heart happen to a certain extent. That's been one of them. Other dimensional heart attacks happening through me, and also, but some of the hearts being okay, not being harmed to a certain extent. That's what they said. You don't know why, because that's the case of this. I'm just incorrect here. That's all. That's all it is. Well, all right, no, that's really it, because that's it. That is why. It's nothing to do with being correct. Everything to do with people being attacked and harmed and not being saved in the moments that they need to. The list. Well, okay, so it's a little bit light. Wait a second. That is a problem then. So that would be why. This is why this is. So this would be why, because that's also what happens. One of the lists has to do with sucking on a strong pip, another dimensional, and sometimes stronger green energy going to my brain, which feels like it's being bigged up to a super brain. That sort of thing. There's been marbles. Yeah, marbles. Here we go. It's like, oh God. I'm glad that certain people have stuck through it in this content experience to this point. Adieu for some. Spirit guides indicated, but there is that sort of one where there's other dimensional movements and stimuli around powerful, and I discern certain kind of strong energies from it. Again, it looks like, they moved into a certain area in my head area, and I felt like a certain kind of being able to move certain things other dimensionally in a certain kind of fashion. Like I had more advanced interaction systems regarding a certain kind of movement of a marble into a certain area where there was more, all right, this is it. I can operate a bit more. It's that sort of thing where a certain kind of variable changes, where your interaction changes. You've got more senses, more powers and abilities, coherency and capacity, thought capacity, coherent understanding. It's a certain kind, and it's not anticipation. Well, anticipation, some of it, but it's the one that's more capacity in regards to understanding what's going on, and that's basically all right. Yeah. Alrighty then, there's that one. That was earlier on. It's a different one. That was last month, the month before as well. Truth pertaining. I started talking about certain things like the amount of Earth-based human in the context that means for guys needed would want some of their famous variables. You guys need to be understood. Medical clarifications regarding, because this is the real true. This is what they all said. That's all. I watched the film Hellboy the day before. And again, this other dimensional stimuli that I noticed certain kind of hooking ups. Also, a let know regarding the love area. There's certain streams of love, a certain amount of loving, large streams of love in regards to a certain aspect. It was almost like there was large streams of love happening through me, but that was being sort of like I couldn't feel it fully, like it could happen silently behind the scenes without me fully understanding that it was. I don't know if they were telling me that that's the kind of stuff that some of us are doing, if that's some of the utilization in regards to some of us. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was bad or good. No, they say it's bad. If they start doing that, I don't know if they stopped the stream of love. I don't know what happened fully. But it's one of the things. It's one of the things that sort of that was talked about to a certain degree. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it fully pertains to, but we'll see. Because that's also it. There was something referred to somebody being awoken to a certain extent, to someone potentially reaching an area either upon passing on or something else as well. Something was realized. A certain guy went to the good side, got to a good area, or a certain kind of checkpoint where it's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to. Okay, whoa, or it's like, all right, so one of those. I don't know if it is though. I don't know. There's something about it, but it might have been. News coming around me yesterday, a certain fashion in a lens, a certain kind of lens in regards to myself, being stolen in regards to me, a certain kind of lens in regards to, but I think some of the lens shapers knew that I still have that lens to a certain degree in a certain manner so that it still can lend. It still can, like, I'm still shaping lens in regards to, I still have a certain kind of peripheral and a framework regarding that lens. Like the shaping of lens in regards to it still has a certain kind of thing in regards to it. So which makes sense to a certain degree. This lens again, I'm feeling a head area, an eye area stimuli in regards to how we view the world. And that it's a scary one, but it was one where I discerned that I still view the world the way I do, but it's just there was a certain kind of shaping and a certain kind of experiences that had happened in regards to that lens, having to do with like dealing with certain kind of spirits, negative spirits, immorality kind of thing, that sort of thing to a certain extent, and it got maneuvered to a certain utilization regarding it. But I don't think it got. I don't think it got stolen outside of a proximity that Marine Spirit Guides indicated to a certain extent. Remember, my mind voice to be protected in regards to August 14th, 2019. I created certain Canadian documents and were supposedly escalated in regards to a certain spiritual conversation in which lamented upon certain things. I had a spiritual conversation that used a certain kind of spiritual interaction system, and it was one of those things that said, like, hey, my relationship with the spirit, like, what's been going on? Like, why did you attack me? And it's just like, oh, because we wanted to, or it's certain, well, no, because we wanted to, or whatever it was. It's one of those things where I asked a question, there was a response, and I gave a response, and then they gave a response, that sort of thing. We did like 3 each in regards to certain people. And it was just one of those candid kind of ones where it was like, okay, well, then fine. We're not looking at it with a certain lens to a certain degree. And that was part of it, in which then there was another spirit that came around that was trying to survive. I think to a certain degree, that was one of the looks, but also the other looks was that certain spirit were being berated and attacked and harassed. Some to attack me, some to attack others. It was a big day. The 14th was a huge day. Again, the 2nd and the 14th, 2-star days, big days. And this day was just, it felt like a lot of spirits coming around me, trying to just in my face about like just all the bad things that you've done, all the, the information you created, how dare you do advocations, argumentatives, all the bad things you said, like all that, that sort of thing. They were in but it wasn't just my grill. And it was on a certain stage. It was felt like international stage, Earth based, to a certain extent. And I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, that's one of those ones where I kind of feel like it's kind of garbage. For some of it, like I don't feel like what I've done is a bad thing. Listen, the informational creation, it only pertains to what Main Spirit Guides indicate. I've put safeties into play. My Main Spirit Guides have put safeties into play. Again, if it's not it's one of those though. It really is. Think of it in regards to yourselves. How about that one? All righty then. Wow. Wow. There's a storyline in regards to me creating Canadian documents. It stems supposedly from earlier on in regards to right around when I created 9/11 disclaimers. I created 911 disclaimers because I felt like it's one of those things on this physical planet Earth that people utilize. They call 911 and there's spiritual in regards to it. There's a certain kind of thing in regards to it which does exist, and one of the things regarding has to do with a certain kind of emergency response. Putting physical disclaimers into play regarding it, I think is decent. It exists online in multiple capacities. And there's even a 911 board on the Peacekeeper Alex Trello account. So, that was one of the things a couple days previous. The next couple days later, and this was in December 2018. I can't fully remember if it was 2018 or not, or if it was later on in 2019. I should be able to find out on the. Okay, so that would be why, and it's this sort of thing where I created the Canadian Armed Forces documents that day. Where I was creating also Revnar information. This Revnar information had to do with process alternatives. So again, we had this sort of interaction, and something was labeled and mislabeled. Something was labeled as Colossalank Authority, which happens to do to certain authority in regards to this physical universe and others from its spirit guides, the ways and means spirit guides indicated. And it was mislabeled for a reason, because some people looked at it and said that was not necessarily the Colossalank Authority. That was certain spirits potentially pretending to be and trying to have it labeled a certain kind. So yeah, that was the thing of it. And it sort of stemmed from that. I created Canadian Armed Forces documents. I felt certain kind of military, well, not necessarily military, but more police presence, because I also called 911, and the spiritual response regarding it was fairly interesting. All right, he meant, yeah, that was why that happened. This is the case of this. You don't know why. You don't know why. They say that, but that's the case. So it was March. Looks like it was March to a certain degree. I don't think it was, though. I can't remember fully the day, but then it sort of segued when I started doing Canadian documents this day. Kind of felt a certain kind of impression from it, to a certain extent. And again, if it was some saying that they need to heighten lines and change it and make it look a little more beefy and tough, I do appreciate certain kind of reputational defense, but the reputational defense that's for some of it, I don't feel like I'm getting attacked and then saying that certain kind of authority are in regards to Canada when it isn't, is a big one. And this would be why, because that is the true. Canada deserves to be protected. Canada is a physical, earth-based nation, and others that mean spirit guides indicated the way spirit guides indicating the original light. Original light display what spirit guides indicated regarding the smart amplification, etc. To spirit guides, the way spirit guides indicating the original light. Well, okay. Because there is that sort of thing where I've noticed, well, anyway, no, here's. Anyway, certain kind of information being displayed right now, and I don't mean to interrupt too much. The context in regards to how I operate, I go to the physical perspectives that mean spirit guides needed in regards to earth-based and others from spirit guides and the ways that mean spirit guides needed, and I ask what you identify with in regards to perspectives pertaining to other selves in the context that means spirit guides indicated, in which for me in regards to who I consider someone to be is cross-referenced with what means spirit guides needed, the way means spirit guides needed. So for example, if I ask a friend of mine and say, how do you identify yourself, especially the perspectives in regards to yourself, specifically in regards to live dimensional and how you view that, and the other dimensional perspectives regarding, especially the perspectives extended in regards to yourself in other dimensional existences that you would consider to be yourself in a certain manner. And I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but And the answer to that, cross-reference with what main spirit guides indicated, is one of, like, for example, we do have perspectives in regards to, for example, well, those in the original light, certain spirit in the original light could speak to the perspective of myself in a certain manner, in a certain context, like literally speak to me, like speak to this physical, like that's to a certain degree, and can in a certain manner, um, and do, and they can gauge a response and opinion and things of that nature, because there is that interaction taking place to a certain degree. So, how is it that it looks when I do that sort of thing where I'm cussing someone out in higher light, especially in the original light, to a certain extent? Well, we did some stuff, Alex. Oh, I don't even know if I want to do that. Depends on what it was. That's all. That's how you'd say. No. See, that was also it. No, that was why. Depends on the context. You don't know why. You would look that way. You're still looking like this. That's all. Well, maybe not. Maybe not then. I don't know. That changes things. If that really wasn't me, my response in regards to that interaction, because it was open channeling to a certain extent. In regards to certain things, that means just needed, we just needed. That's just what it is. It's always been that. Like sake. Well, all right, yeah. Well, it hasn't always been that. Anyway, I don't know what else to say on this. I'm fairly, like, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. systems around Alex James Hislop, August 15, 2019. I felt some certain kind of systems come around me, and it was interesting. Like, some of the systems that I'm, advocating for the light to do, spirit guides and things like that, they felt like in the proximity and vicinity, in regards to that 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. There were some big systems around me, and I was just like, okay, like, and I love it that there's some of those systems that do hear me, regardless of from afar or not. I appreciate some of that. That means you guys need the women just needed, and it's just good to feel like that interactions, happening in a certain context. For some of it, but some of it not. Someone's like, "Whoa, what are they doing here, man? Well, what the for freak's sake? Well, what have I been doing? Well, what have I been doing? Well, all right, that's the case of this, though, Alex. It's not meant that way. Because regardless, I don't deserve to be attacked. I mean, that's also it, because it's a partial trap. It is. It's a joke and not a literal. But that's also why, because you did joke about it. I did joke about it. But that's also it. I don't deserve to be attacked for it, and that's the case of it. All right. The kind of stuff that I've been creating doesn't warrant me getting attacked over in the ways that spirit guides indicated. I've already said it multiple times. It got less to do with me and more to do with something else. You don't know why, because that's what we're thinking of. Anyway, a certain kind of interaction that day happened. Also on the 14th, there was a certain kind of thing where I felt a certain kind of business around. There was a certain kind of Upper Canada Mall kind of moment where I went to a certain kind of yeah, it's interesting. There was a couple. Was it the day after? Was it the same day? Jesus Christ, was it the same day? It couldn't have been the same day. No, I think it was actually the 12th. Yeah, it was the 12th. So days before, going to Upper Canada Mall, and it felt like life, felt like health. A certain health, like fashion health. There's health at the mall. This is the case of this. It can heal your soul. It's the real truth. Bring a couple bucks in your pocket. Yeah, well, you don't have to. Well, it depends. It depends on what you do. It depends on where you are spiritually. Spiritually, you just walk in there. This is the case of this. If you're a certain kind, you can just go in there. You might be buying things spiritually. Like, that's the real truth. Well, that is. For some, it matters. Well, but yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be unclothed there. I don't know why I went that way. I don't know. All right, yeah. I mean, it was sort of, because that's the way we feel here. Look, just end it, all right? Hurry up. Jesus. It does matter. Listen, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but that was the case of this. The 17th, I felt certain kind of handicap healing come around me in a certain kind of context. I was sort of just chilling in a certain capacity, and I don't know why. Some were looking at me in a certain kind of way, in a certain kind of sense. And I don't mean to be uncouth, but I was just trying to chill out, and I don't know what to tell you. I was just trying to chill out and look at Pinterest photos to add towards certain kind of things. Some people didn't want me to sort either, to a certain extent. And I'm adding for what the resource lists that MHLs need to present themselves in the moments MHLs needed pertaining to August 17, 2019, the MHLs needed. All right. Spider sense, I saw a certain kind of being in regards to a certain kind of psychic activity. It was like looking at someone that doesn't seem what they seem to be. Like they look like something else, like behind the scenes. And you're just like, that there's like, they use it in regards to like certain kind of insectoid behind the scenes, big insectoids in another dimensional in regards to it. I know it looks a bit fantastical, but there is things like that where you'll notice certain kind of things behind the scenes of the dimensional, or it can seem like that cuckoo kind of stuff, but there really is real stimuli in regards to some of it. A psychic medium, I can discern this stuff. I speak to spirits speak to me. And this is the case list. They're big, hitting home, Alex. It could be the biggest thing you ever do. That's why. My memory was affected as well. There was an emphasis in regards to video games and video game communication. Actually, this day I did certain kind of communication. It really did actually help. There's also an idea in regards to digestion pertaining to other dimensional digestion in regards to certain things that are attached in regards to it. One of the things I noticed was that there is other kinds of things happening in regards to some of the mechanics pertaining to ourselves, uh, and specific emphasis in regards to digestion. One of those things that I sort of noticed. Yeah, interesting stuff. I was feeling different kinds of things attached to it. Didn't necessarily feel like it was digesting food. I'm wondering if it was more of like something else behind the scenes per se. So, I don't know. Energy levels affected this day on the 20th. Yeah, that was another one. Again, another harassing and haranguing in regards to my energies and my life path, a certain kind of direction. Just focusing, work effort, workload. That sort of stuff has been attacked at times. It's been an emphasis in regards to it. So obviously, I'm fairly certain that that's certain. Well, I don't know. You might be trying to help certain spirits behind the scenes, other dimensional, who don't want to be doing a bunch of workload. But instead of actually going the way that going away, like saying that they shouldn't get attacked and that sort of thing, they just say, hey, why doesn't Alex just not do it? Especially if what other dimensional selves don't want to be doing that anyway. But it's not my other dimensional selves doing it, right? That was a bit of the difficulty. All right, you don't know why, because they shouldn't have to. And that's the case of it. All righty then. Well, whatever. Because that's also what, I mean, you're a part of it. You're a part of some of that group. You don't want to be doing some of this stuff. I don't want to be doing some of it. I still want to live my life, be able to write diary entries, do my thing down here. I mean, that's the thing of it. We're moved past that, man. Alrighty then. We have. That is the correct of it. Of the past, certain kind of of the past, certain kind of, there was an interaction in regards to like the original creator, like back in the day, like when he was whole, more whole than now, like together, like single being kind of thing, like a big portion of the God spark, what we consider now like a large percentage of him like discerning the future. And there was this I can't even recreate that. Yeah, I wish it would have been that sort of one where we looked at it and I can't even recreate it. Come on. It was one of those ones where they brought it up in a certain kind of moment, and I think it did. I think he was looking. That's the way I felt about it. In that one moment, yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the one. And the one that I saw there, anyway. There we go. All right, then. All right, then. And I don't know. There was just some stuff. Stuff happened. Certain spirit came around me in regards to it, and it's that sort of thing. Again, I've sort of noticed that, and it's not always that interaction. On the other side of the line, it looks like something else a bit to a certain extent because it can look that way, specifically with those who haven't traversed past those lines. It looks a certain way for a reason, and you just got to be careful in regards to traversing past those lines in a certain context, in a certain kind of way, in a certain manner, in a certain kind of fashion, in a certain kind of whatever else needs to be said that means for guides indicated. Well, alrighty then. You don't know why, because you really are that way. Hey, what's up? Want to see something cool? Oh, I would. All right, whatever. Early morning situations lamented upon, freaking out in regards to channeling again, brought up multiple personals in which were potentially utilized in manners in which was also trapping someone which needs some sort of alternatives, but also other kinds of stuff happening in which there is utilization in regards to myself in a political capacity in which I dislike to a certain extent. Is writing this down, there were multiple actions taking place. Light do what means for guides indicated regarding to do always in regards to this market education, etc. To means for guide in regards to marketing, let know. Early morning ventings in regards to certain family members and things of that nature, specifically in regards to a specific cousin of mine, which has been unfair in regards to both of us, harassing around me in regards to it at times, especially upon some of my mistakes and utilization in regards to blame has not been holding salt even before some of the events this year. There was also of form utilization in regards to someone which has been used at times in a spotlights and things of that nature in which some have tried to both utilize power garnered from this life and pass off power from other lives, and for some of it being trades and for others not so at all. No, this is the case, Liz, because that's also what they heard. They heard that for a reason. Early morning attacks in regards to psychic channeling on the August 23rd. I've noted to multiple psychic stimuli over the past couple of days in regards to utilization of spiders and other kinds to scare me. Partially lying about my desensitization and certain kinds of behavior updates, taking it away and changing it in key moments where I'm confronted with these scary visuals. And instead of using some of those updates upon seeing some of those visuals, utilizing how I feel in the physical, if I was to be confronted with certain kinds of things, partially by way of the reaction and scare tactics, this is partially because of how I feel in that I don't want to be desensitized in a certain manner because of how I feel in regards to some of my fears and things of that nature. There is kind of personality and behavior updates that can happen in the spirit, and for some, it could be as quick as uploading and downloading a personality trait, in which can change how one proceeds in a certain situation. Do you do that to be malicious? No, not really. If you get attacked with spiders psychologically by way of visual imagery, or your personality is going to be different, and to be truth, there are those holding it down in certain aspects of certain selves as to how they feel in certain moments. I've noticed a moment capturing in regards to certain psychological damaging moments and scared crying moments, potentially by the way of some of the negative in a certain manner. There is ones for the positive as well too that have happened, and even some of the negatives are utilizing such a thing for decent means like creating content experiences for some to vent aggression instead of it happening in other contexts. There was also discussion about life path direction, utilization of such things in regards to other processes to affect shaping of those processes and certain events, like some operating on a life path that I'm no longer currently on in a certain fashion to affect the world at large. But it's not just myself, it's also others. Imagine the spirit being able to utilize a dimensional overlap of how things would have turned out had a certain life path, gone a certain path. Like becoming a doctor and coming up with the cures to disease, and certain spirit being able to utilize that overlap in certain situations and reactions as well, shaping of people that had that life path taken place, and therein lies life utilization as well as some even pretend to be certain kind had they have gone the life path direction. That sort of thing that says that a life path direction utilized in a certain kind of way, some consider it to be life utilization, some consider it to be something else. That sort of things that says life path utilization to do good. But they also there's some nit grit in it, which is that sort of thing that says maneuver somebody off a life path to do that good, and then utilize that life path to create the good. But the kind of difficulty involved is that if you're a physical and another kind of dimensional, and that life path in the physical was needed to be able to facilitate that in the physical, and instead it's utilized in a certain fashion, and to say it's not utilized at all in regards to some of it, in regards to that the physical life path. See, we brought this up, Alex. See, this is the case of this. And is it? All righty then. You don't know why, because that's the case of it. You don't know why everybody comes. I'm going with something just needed. Basically woke up this morning in the gutter, feeling still crazy from before. Multiple kinds utilized throughout the night, but as the day progressed, I got better, and yeah, nowhere near as what someone gone through, especially the utilization of my life, is to take the hit of punishment alternatives and other kinds. There are those taking the psychological impact in regards to some of the stuff done to me, like other dimensional buffers, standing in the way of me feeling the full effect of whatever the heck they are trying to do to me. How many others have this sort of thing in the world? Big battles emerging with kaiju spiders and things of that nature and other dimensional existences. There was a deployment, said to have been a big one to a certain extent. I will leave it at that. Power utilization regarding myself the past couple of days has reflected both decent and indecent. Whoa. You know why not? Because this was the case of this. That's all. That's all it is. Because somebody went through. And you would say no. That, Alex. All right, I dig it. Yeah. I mean, full community. Like that's the thing of this. All right, then because the way you label it, the way you do it, that's the case of this. That's what they all said. There's a certain aspect of my process that I'm advocating for what means for guys negative regarding. We got a better one now. And where'd that one go? They went somewhere else. And where'd they go? Well, now we got deployments, and that was the case. Well, and okay. 24th, solving international archetype mysteries. It was that sort of thing where there were certain kind of archetypes happening. Apparently, they saw the classic male French male archetype. This one of them, and it's this dark, this gray, deep blue cartoon with a smoke, and he has this kind of like, he's just like he's depressed. He's like, he kind of has like a cigarette, and he's kind of says, "You're not doing." No, it's not it. No. It's he's got a sadness about him and a certain kind of way about him, and there's a lot of different kind of interaction regarding that sort of archetypes. International archetypes was one of them. I watched High Seas, and a couple other movies that I watched this month actually was Fury. That was one of them. And there was a big thing regarding it. Another one was I put on over there was Dunkirk. That we can, well, I don't know if it's meant like that, but we can unbend that barrel if possible. Hope that be correct. For some people, yeah, I left it on at night, and I didn't mean to upset or harm. I am asking for what means for guys to negate regarding. I'm out for Casper, etc. for guides in regards to Dunkirk and others for guys. That means guys need to be protected and healed, etc. for guys need. That is not what you don't want to be going the paths that means for guys negated in regards to this market application, etc. for guides. So it means for guides indicated. All right, so that is what you did. Good. I watched multiple movies to be true. I'll just look over here and see if I can find. I just have a written down analog. I have been writing my analog. I have a ledger, but some people don't consider it a ledger because I write certain kind of things in it. But I think it's a bit of a ledger. I think there's ledger stuff in it and things of that nature. I also have written analog diary entries. I also have digital diary entries, and I also have multiple content that I create in regards to the stuff that happens. So some people do try to look at it a certain kind of fashion. I know those ones you guys are advocating for what we just need regarding those we just need. The next day on the 20th, this is about 4 days earlier, Battle Los Angeles, right before Dunkirk. It's a big one. A lot of stuff happening in regards to it. There's a lot of realism in regards to some of the stuff that happens. Some people look at it and say it's just video game stuff, but some of it isn't. And this is the case, Liz. Well, all righty then. And I'm asking for what means you guys need to get regarding, and placing that in regards to my interaction is just not okay. Because that's what it looks like here. That's the case. That's how we're going with it. And you don't know why it is, because that's what's going to happen. Someone who's done, that's all. I chilled out with my family on the 25th. I went to a certain kind of place. We chilled out. Interesting interaction. I got sad. I thought of my grandfather, in the spirit of Saskatchewan. I just got sad outside the place, and I just had difficulty with a certain kind of interaction and not necessarily talking about some of this stuff. There's a certain kind of thing in regards to it, and I understand why some don't want me to talk about some of this stuff because of some of the stuff happening, some of the interactions, some of the stuff taking place. I'm meant for this house to be redacted, which I was negative. All right, yeah. Well, no, not yeah. We should be able to talk about this sort of thing. On the 26th, there's a person who visited me. So that's what they ended up going with. And if you do that, it's over. It's done then. I would not go that path. No way. Anyway, there was just a person around me, and there's been high turbulence in regards to interaction regarding at times. I and others from Guides testify regarding her, and others from Guides which was needed. I and others from Guides are advocating for what Guides needed regarding which was needed. I and others from Guides are advocating for the placement information that Guides needed to be placed where Guides needed, the moments that Guides needed, the way Guides needed. And that's just what Alex said. Alex did not hear any of that. He did not hear it. I heard what Spirit Guides indicated. I went out west. At the end of the month. There was a slew of different interactions happening. A lot of different stuff. I know the Spirit Guides are advocating for what Spirit Guides chose for us to advocate in regards to August 28th, 2019, August 29th, 2019, August 31st, 2019, September 1st, 2019, September 2nd, 2019, and others from Spirit Guides, Spirit Guides needed. I and others from Spirit Guides are advocating for what Spirit Guides chose for us to advocate in regards to August 20th, 2019, August 21st, 2019, August 22nd, 2019, and August 23rd, 2019, as well as August 24th, 2019, the way Spirit Guides needed. I and others from Spirit Guides are advocating for the magnificence that Spirit Guides indicated, and those that Spirit Guides needed, as well as the terms that Spirit Guides wanted me to utilize in regards to this market application, etc. for Spirit Guides to do what Spirit Guides indicated for them to do in regards to this market application, etc. for Spirit Guides pertaining to August 21st, 2019, August 22nd, 2019, August 23rd, 2019, and August 24th, 2019, the way Spirit Guides needed. A lot of things happening. I'm Alex James Hislop. Spirit Guides, I know there's fun. We are advocating for healing protection as well as what we have indicated in regards to the August 2019 review content and others. What we have the way we have indicated. Maycap's current information from Light regarding what Maycap indicated in regards to those that Maycap indicated for what they chose for the August 2019 review content information that Maycap indicated takes priority. How Maycap indicated Light, the way Maycap indicated Light.